Hey guys, let me take a minute to talk to you about our new sponsors, Polysleep. Head over to polysleep.ca and check out their amazing assortment of mattresses and luxurious pillows. Polysleep is a 100% local Quebec-based company. They don't get their stuff from overseas and build them here. They do everything locally because they hate foreigners. Head over to polysleep.ca, use the promo code Pantelis25 and get yourself 25% off anything on the website. These guys are pretty cool. It's all online. They don't have local stores. They deliver it to your house. And their foamy mattresses have this antimicrobial foam to fight germs. I don't know about this. They informed me that after a certain amount of time of you sleeping on your bed, like 10 years, it gains 20 pounds in weight from all these germs and dead skin. It is disgusting, all right? So you get yourself a good mattress from polysleep.ca. Plus, they're supporting the show, so you know they're cool. And they have a sense of humor because they're letting me talk about it. And they have celebrity endorsements. Myself, Mike Ward, both Homer and O.J. Simpson. These are deals to die and or kill for. Pantelis25 is the promo code. Head over to Polysleep. Help out our homies. They'll help us out. And we'll keep making cool-ass podcasts.
It's time.
Bam, we're here. Olivia.
Fingers. Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be back.
A year later.
Yeah, almost. No, I was going to say almost to the day, but I think we recorded in December.
Yeah, bring the mic closer. Don't be shy.
Okay, here we go.
You can move it around. It's up to you. Yeah.
I thought we could do the episode in ASMR style.
No, you could if you want. I don't think anyone's going to give a shit.
No, I'm good. I'm good on that. Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking me back, and it's good to be back a year later because obviously last time we chatted, it was about the future and what's to come, and now we can do a retrospective. And
you quit your job day of last time you came. You quit in the morning. You did a podcast at night.
Exactly.
What happened?
Yeah.
Have you been homeless ever since? Is that what happened?
Honestly, I'm just trying to live my truth. No.
How funny would that be if you're like, look, it didn't work out? It's not going well. I should have never quit.
Well, that was always on the table. That was an option.
Me too.
Anyone who chooses to be self-employed really is taking a pretty big leap in that sense, right?
Yeah, we're not smart. We're gutsy, but we're not smart.
I mean, it's definitely easier to just like have a steady income and work for a company. But if you have a yearning desire and passion to be outside of that, then I think you owe it to yourself to try. Well, at least for me.
What have you been working on?
What haven't I been working on? I mean, okay. Obviously, this year has been so weird because it's a freaking pandemic. We can swear on the podcast.
Of course, do whatever you want.
So exciting. So obviously, my initial reasoning for wanting to quit was to pursue performance in multiple different capacities. Voice acting being one of them, hosting, like live event hosting being another, and stand up comedy being another avenue. And then, I kind of started getting a couple gigs here and there, and then the pandemic hit. So for a good chunk of time, I was really like without a gig. And that's tough when you're, waiting on gig work to pay your rent.
You quit 3 months too early.
Totally. I should have just waited to get furloughed and get my pay. I'm teasing. But that being said, it kind of gave me this respite to actually write and create and get my shit together and start thinking about what I want to do, all the while still trying to get gigs on the side. So to answer your question, I've been doing a lot of voiceover work and working on my new voiceover demo, but I've also been getting a lot of gigs in like web ads and commercials and things like that. And this is all non-union work that I'm applying for because I'm not unionized yet.
You have an agent?
Not yet. So this whole year has been about getting my material and getting enough content that I can actually approach an agent and say, here's my portfolio. Here's all the work I've procured without any help whatsoever. Like,
hook me up.
Rep me. Exactly. Yeah. So that's what it is. I did an ad for L'Équipeur, which was like a national syndicated ad. So that was a nice thing to add to my belt this year.
I like them. I've been to them.
Yeah. Definitely good stuff. They have good inventory. I did a couple of other web ads that just gave me some nice visibility. The stand-up is what I miss, though. And I don't know, I'm curious.
You're preaching the choir.
Well, so I'm curious to know from you, like, have you done Zoom shows? And what's that?
I've refused every Zoom show that's come my way because it is not the same. It's not stand-up. I was lucky because in the summer when things reopened, I did stand-up all the way up till October, till we started this crazy shit now.
Yeah.
And I got it back. I was like, oh, nice. Everything's getting back to normal. Yeah. And then it just stopped. And now I miss it more than anything.
Dis donc. Like, I just find every time there's been an opportunity to do a Zoom show, or do you want to hop on this multi-comic lineup, the thought of talking to my screen is so excruciating that I'm going, fuck, like it's not the same thing, obviously.
If it's the first time they see you, it's a bad look.
Oh, right, because I don't have like an established audience already.
Because if they know you already,
Yeah, then
and they're like,
they-
okay, it's tough because it's on Zoom.
Yeah.
But because it's on Zoom, it's gonna go shit. If it's the first time they see you, they just assume, oh, that's how good they are.
You gotta work 3 times as hard just to get those laughs because you don't have the chemistry and the synergy with the audience.
Exactly, and it's weird. Even I can't get behind the Zoom show.
But I'm like, what if it lags right at my punchline? I can't handle that pressure. Like,
Or even if they're laughing, if you can't see them, if the screens, you don't know. So
Exactly.
in your head, you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I pivot or it's just crazy.
yeah, are we on the right track, guys? I just need a little bit of laughter to get some direction. I don't know. I commend those comics who are doing it and getting out there and doing Zoom shows. It's just one way to respond to the pandemic and stay relevant. I can't perform to a screen. I find it
it's not for me.
so tough. But I think there's other ways for you to engage and still produce content and create comedy in the pandemic without being on stage. But I think
Well, you've been doing shit at least.
I've been trying to. It's definitely hard to stay motivated, for sure. It's the first time I'm self-employed. It's the first time I don't work for someone and I'm my own boss and I have to be on my own ass. And it's like, I feel guilty if I don't have a productive day. But I think it's just been really nice to like do what I want.
I had quit my job, I remember, when I decided to just go full force. I'm going to be my own boss.
Yeah.
And I think the day after, I was like, I ruined my life. Like the day after, I was like, this is stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what were you doing before you got
I was
into
in virtual reality.
Oh.
So the last thing I did before this, because I used to be in video games, and then, so the last thing I did was VR.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? Nah, let me double down. Let me try comedy, podcasting. Let me double down on that. And the day after, I was like, this is a horrible, horrible decision.
So wait, how old were you when you made that leap?
A couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You've done a lot in a few years though, Pantelis. That's
Yeah, it's been, it was 2017.
You're kidding.
2017, I think, yeah.
Like when I first met you, you hadn't been doing it that long.
No, well, I've been doing stand-up since 2012.
Oh, okay. So
but to
that's
quit everything.
to do podcast, to do it full time.
to do it full time was about 2017, I think. And yeah, that was it. It was 2017. It was right before I had met Mike, the year
Okay.
before I had met Mike. And it was just a ridiculous decision.
Right.
And I've been learning everything as I went along. Because you can't really, in Montreal, especially in English, you can't really make money just doing stand-up. Not possible.
Even just in general, even if you're not in Montreal in English, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
hard to make money off stand up. I mean,
So hard. So I was like, oh, is this the right idea? How am I going to make money off podcasting, ads, all that? And then you had no choice.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to figure this shit out.
pivot. Yeah.
Pivot, and then everything started growing. And then I was like, oh, fuck, okay, I figured this out. I kind of figured it out.
Don't you find there's a bit of a eureka moment when you start to realize, oh, I can actually kind of get by on what I'm doing?
But it's also scary because the whole time I thought, I'm like, wait, is this just luck? Is this going to run out? Is this...
That's imposter syndrome right there. You know?
I have it big time.
Join the club.
And you know what the other fucked up thing is? All those years I was working full time at real companies, real jobs. So what ends up happening is you think that that's reality.
Right.
So anything I do outside of it, I think, oh, this is not the right way to be. Nobody would do this in their right mind. This is too dangerous. It's too scary.
Because there's like a preconceived prescription of how to do things.
Yeah. And it's like, well, you're not going to work 9 to 5 in the morning. You don't have a boss. Then this isn't going to work. This can't last forever.
Well, I feel that way too. I kind of woke up. Well, I didn't wake up maybe not the very next day like you, but certainly there's been pockets of time through this year where I kind of go, oh my God, I can't believe this is my life now. I just don't have a schedule to adhere to. I make my own schedule. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's not sustainable. Like, I think it's really hard to get into the groove of being self-employed.
Yeah. And it's not for everyone.
And it's not for everyone.
Because I work more now than I ever did before.
Yeah.
Because I have to run everything.
Exactly.
So I'm doing, but it doesn't feel the same. I'm always busy.
But it doesn't destroy your soul.
It doesn't destroy my soul. That's it. I don't feel, you don't have that passive aggressive boss. You don't have that weirdness. You don't have that. It's just you working hard to make shit happen, make doors open. Yeah. Plus, I could read bullshit better now.
You can, what do you mean by that?
Because in the beginning, I had a lot of like, I was very, like the first time we were meeting and all, like just for laughs, I used to have a lot of stars in my eyes. Like, oh, this must be a good person. This must be, like everybody to me was a nice person.
Right.
And then I started to learn, I'm like, they're not good people in the business. Like a lot of them are just, especially not comics, but like the business side of it, it's, they like you as long as they can get something out of you.
Well, a lot of people just are utilitarian in that way.
And I learned that because of agents and stuff, because I didn't have anyone. Now I have like an agent for acting and things like that, but I don't have anyone for stand-up. I do it all myself.
Yeah.
You know why? Because the people that approached me, I was like, wait, this is useless. They want to just take over what I'm already doing, just do it for me, but not bring anything to the table. So I was like, that doesn't make any, why would I give you any money? I'm doing it myself. If you're not bringing it, that's crazy. You're just asking me to pay you. That's all you're at.
Leeching off you, basically.
Yeah. It's like, fuck these people. I could do it. They might not believe it, but I could do it on myself.
If you can do it yourself, do.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people just don't have contacts or direction or don't know the industry or.
I'm a bull. I just go right in.
Well, no, I mean, look at what you've done in just a short amount of time. Even just this nice studio. It's great, the new space. I love it.
It's comfortable, right?
Oh, on est super bien, là.
And how far are we? We got space here. We got, it doesn't feel claustrophobic.
No, this is actually COVID safe, so.
Goddamn right.
Good for us. No, but on the note of being self-employed, what did I want to mention? We were talking about
You and your schedule.
Yeah, no, but also just waking up and realizing, oh, fuck, I can actually pay my bills. Like, let's be honest, this year has been very difficult for most people financially.
Yeah. Us included.
Absolutely, like especially the artists, especially live. I mean, part of what I do also is live event hosting. I used to work for Habs, or I still technically do, but there's no fans in the audience to entertain. So I'm trying to get gigs like hosting virtual events, and I just did a cool like virtual trade show for.
I saw some of the videos that you were putting up. That looked cool.
Yeah, it was a virtual trade show for cannabis cultivators and business executives in Canada. So it was really nice to do. It was a live stream that I did 4 days of live hosting and kind of welcoming people around the platform. And all to say, it's like my new niche, and I'm very happy to be doing that because that's a direction I want to keep going in. But I think it's nice to finally look back now after it's been a year since I left my steady job at Just for Laughs, and it's nice to go, okay, I don't think I made a mistake. I think I made the right choice. Like, no animosity towards JFL. I love them.
No, you were there for years. You made friends.
I loved it. It was great. It's just like I knew my calling. I'm like, I need to be on stage. If I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And now after a year, even in a pandemic where I'm going, well, it's been really slow this year, but at least I still got a little bit of traction. I'm very happy to be where I am right now.
Plus, you could say whatever you want when you don't work for like a big company.
Yeah.
Like one of my homies that I always want to bring on here, but I won't invite him anymore because I don't want him to come. Bruce Hills. I don't want him to come on because I don't want to fuck him over.
Right. If
I
you
like
get
the guy.
him saying something.
He's the nicest fucking guy. Man, yeah, he says the wrong thing and they try to cancel him and shit like that. So I don't want to take chances.
Well, I don't mean to pivot the convo or take over, but do you want to talk about cancel culture?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
This is your show.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is the Olivia episode. What are you talking about?
Amazing.
You direct the convo.
Okay, cool. Well, cancel culture is a big one, especially for comedians.
But here's the thing. I'm not of the opinion of if somebody doesn't like you, automatically it's cancel culture. Mm-hmm. I'm not of that if somebody doesn't like you, it's automatically because they're too PC. People could just not like you, not like your content. That's fine. That's normal. What I care about is when you're actively going against to get someone's job for something they said, a joke. That's the cancel culture that bothers me, when they're actually trying to cancel you personally. Mm-hmm. So let's say on the podcast, I don't know, you make a joke today about the weed companies that you're working with. And then someone's like, that's bullshit. My whole family lives off weed. Why is she making fun of that? And then they start messaging them. You can't hire this girl. She makes fun of weed companies. You're like, Jesus Christ, just don't watch her. You think she went too hard on the weed companies. Just don't watch her. Why would you go to that extent? It's fucking crazy.
I think so many people love to hate.
Yeah.
They really, really do. Sometimes it's warranted that we should stop supporting certain people. I mean, I do think it can be warranted. But also I think,
But that's for like Nazi. That's for excessive stuff.
We're talking, like Jeffrey Epstein. And
like excessive shit like that. Not, I didn't like there's jokes that are at my expense or something, and I could even laugh at most of those. Yeah. But it's just, I've never thought of, oh fuck, we got to make sure we stop this person from talking.
Well, that's why there's like things I'll see online where like memes that'll make fun of it and be like, if you see something you don't like, you can actually just keep scrolling.
Yep.
And it won't fucking kill you. So.
But they get so. But also, let's be honest, people are stupid.
Yeah, I mean it's a mix of things. People are hypersensitive and very like, don't want to be challenged on their views. Like a lot of people aren't interested in actually being challenged.
Yeah, but we're not serious people. Is the other thing. Like people assume that our jokes are hard value truths, and that if they call us out on it because they don't like it, it's gonna start a war. Like we're gonna fall apart. When in reality, most of the shit we say is to fuck around.
Oh, you're talking about on stage, like
in general, even tweets. Like I have a little tweet that went viral, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever tweeted. Okay. And it's the one that fucking goes viral.
Which one?
About you heard the Gorilla Glue girl? Yeah. So I found this little clear bottle of Gorilla Glue in my bathroom, the sink. So I just put it up on the sink and I said, "I'm about to jerk off. Wish me luck." And it's like at 10,000 likes. Like it's just.
No, that's really funny though.
I'm like, this is really the fucking tweet that blows up.
Yeah, it's really funny.
But then I see some comments, like people don't get it's a joke. They're like, look at this fucking idiot. You know how dangerous it is? Why would you do that? And like, you fucking imbecile. You think I'm going to glue my hands to my penis? Like, is that what you think? It's so stupid.
I know, but at the same time, that chick, the Gorilla Girl woman, like
that's a dumb woman.
No, like she did that by accident. It wasn't on purpose.
But did you see? I thought it wasn't.
She ran out of her other products.
But they're in different sections. It's like you had to go to the hardware section to get Gorilla Glue. Why would hairspray be there?
No, like, and you're not wrong, you know? But I just think, the internet's a wondrous place, isn't it?
Do you feel like do you ever think about that? Because now you're on the other side of it. Because when you were working at JFL, you were all, like, when I met you, you're always yourself. But I'm pretty sure there were times where you're like, all right, I'll refrain from this convo just because I'm the business side. I can't just get in there. Now, do you see it differently from this side? Do you feel more free, or do you still have that filter?
What an excellent question. Certainly, I exercise caution at all times.
You should, though.
Yeah, it's not so much because while I recognize I'm no longer on the business side, I'm no longer an ambassador for a company. I'm just an ambassador for myself. I don't want to be a divisive person.
Okay.
I do think it's important to state your views if you feel strongly about them, or if you feel passionate about a subject, that you should be able to express that free of being chastised. I mean, anyone can criticize you, but I think it's important to stick by your thoughts and your ideas. But I think you also have to be sensitive to the climate. So I'm trying to avoid being publicly critical, but I also don't want to be somebody who lacks substance. So I definitely feel a little bit conflicted. There are times where I want to say something and I'm going to go, well, I don't know how this is going to look to my industry peeps. Or I don't want to say the wrong thing and then be judged by all my fellow comedians, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, the good comedians won't judge you.
Depends on what you say, though. I'm saying again, if it's the way I know you, I'm assuming that your opinions are not those of monsters. No,
you know
they're
what I mean?
not extreme.
Yeah.
No. Obviously, I'm.
The problem is these Jews. It's like, yeah, that would be an interesting fucking thing for you to say, but that's not where you come from. That's you know what I mean. So I don't even know, and all these extreme views like that, I don't even know people like in the industry that I know personally that have ever expressed shit like that. Like there's trolls online and this and that, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of people that I know personally that have said some crazy shit. It's never actual like extremist shit. It's always a joke too early. It's never anything like let's kill these people. It never is that.
No, I don't think I've seen much comedy that like incites violence.
Yeah, I haven't.
Or hatred, but definitely there's some really fucking offensive stuff out there that people either love or hate.
Good.
And obviously you come from a world where censorship is a topic of conversation, with Mike and everything that went down there.
And still going down.
And I think now we're in a, Rowan Atkinson also was defending, talking about how it's like cancel culture is it's just so much bullshit. There's just so much fucking bullshit.
I don't like comics policing other comics because I've seen some comics now that have actually made it. And it's like they're kicking the ladder from behind them.
Saying what though? Like, how do you mean?
Who's this guy in the UK? Frankie Boyle, I think his name was.
Okay.
He started talking shit about someone online. Oh, these jokes are very offensive. You can't joke about this. You can't joke about that.
Oh, yeah. No.
But this guy made a career, apparently. I didn't know the guy, but apparently he made a career out of really touchy shit, So it's like, hold on a second. It was cool for you. When you did it, it was jokes.
Yeah.
But if the next comic right now does it, he's evil. Guys, I personally, when I see comics do, I can understand where they're coming from, like joke-wise. There's jokes that I don't find funny, but I know they're not doing it to hurt me or whatever. I never take it personal.
Yeah.
Like I understand they're comedians. It's not some guy at the grocery store telling me to go fuck myself as I'm Greek.
Yeah.
This comic's trying to be funny. So I don't know why these comics are established now, instead of being like, no, you need the platform. You need to be able to make shit jokes so that you learn from them.
Yeah.
And you try to push the boundaries. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
And that's how you craft better jokes.
Yeah.
You can't just silence everyone.
Well, it's interesting. I had an experience this past year that was really difficult for me, where I was called out.
For what?
I got reamed out.
You got called out? What did you do that was controversial?
Okay, it's very hard for me to talk about because basically the last show I did was last February, right before lockdown. And I I did a bit. I have this bit where I'm like afraid to now on the subject of what we're talking about. I'm like afraid to repeat it because I got chastised for it, and I'm sensitive to it, but I also want to be very careful about what I say publicly.
You be you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think it's okay to talk about it. I think it's important to dialogue and have it in the discourse. So I did a show last February, and one of my bits, I talk about how I got my eyebrows threaded, and the whole joke is about how right after I finished getting my eyebrows done, the woman who was doing them looks at me and goes, "Do you want me to do your upper lip?"
All right.
And my whole thing is like, well, what the fuck? Like, and then I go to my friend, well, you didn't tell me I had a mustache. And she's like, yeah, well, we were sitting out in the sun and you have a fucking mustache. So it wasn't really an emphasis on,
this got somebody heated.
so I'll tell you why. Because I didn't mention anything about race or the race of the woman who was doing my eyebrows, but I did put on an accent.
That's fine.
Okay. And it was a tone deaf joke in the sense that I wasn't sensitized enough to say, well, I shouldn't really impersonate other races.
What accent were you doing?
It was a awful, like really terrible version of an Indian accent.
Oh, that's...
I never said she was Indian, but you could tell from my disrespectful impression
That's
that
fine.
I was making fun of an Indian. Well, but the whole thing is she wasn't the butt of the joke. It was just so fucking funny.
The mustache was the butt of the joke.
She called me out and she's going, "Do you want me to do your upper lip?" And I'm like, what the fuck? And the accent was just a secondary thing. It wasn't the punchline, but in theory, I could have done Russian or German and it would have been less offensive.
But the reason why you did Indian, I'm going to assume, knowing because I'm from Park X, the lady who does your eyebrows, for you could relate to it, is an Indian woman.
She happened to be Indian.
That's why you did it.
Yes. And so I think in hindsight, I've learned a lot about being sensitive on stage and knowing my place, especially as a white person. And like, yes, I'm Jewish and half Moroccan, but that's not obvious to most people. So I need to stay in my lane in that sense. And
you have no lane. Don't listen to that. You have no lane.
Well,
you have no lane.
Well,
that's
let's talk about
super
that.
racist and sexist to say, stay in your lane, sweetheart. That's crazy.
I just mean to be mindful and respectful beyond what I'm normally.
Hold on a second. Right, I'm just going to give you, you made me think of a good Tom Segura joke, which I'm not going to repeat. It's his fucking joke, but it's on one of his specials. Fucking great comedian. And one of his jokes was that he was talking about, I think, a guy that brought a baby in the theater, and he was just mimicking, but he never mentioned the race. He goes, you get what race the guy is. Like, I don't have to say it. Just because he basically did kind of what you did. He was describing the guy. Never described him, just the accent, stuff like that. So it's a funny joke because they're like, yeah, we get what you're saying. You know, just by the way you're talking, the vernacular.
So it was insinuated.
It was insinuated because it's just part of the joke. There's no point of pointing that out. You're going to get it with my accent, and it's because so you could understand, you could relate to what I'm talking about. It wasn't done to hurt the race of the person. None of that shit's crazy because it's a joke, right? Yeah. So what's this stay in your lane thing? So you can only make fun of what? You can only make fun of Jews and Moroccans?
Well, this is the whole conversation. This is so topical today because of PC culture and cancel culture and who could say what. And I so support freedom of speech, and comedians should have comedy as a platform to say what the fuck they want with just short of inciting violence.
If you said these Indian women that are threading my eyebrows need to get killed or something, I understand. Yeah, that's offensive. That's just crazy. That's not what you said.
No, mais en même temps, I just think it was regardless. That's what forced me to think about it. In my head, I'm going, I've been doing this joke for the whole year. It's part of my set. I always get a laugh.
Did anybody else get offended? It was the first time, right?
It was the first time.
There you go.
But I still took it seriously because the person who got offended was Indian.
Yeah.
So he happened to be hosting the show.
Indians could be idiots too. It's not, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not. The truth is, I very much appreciated that he approached me because all it did was just open my mind more. It was the first time anybody approached me or said anything about my set.
Ask Sugar Sammy to look at your bit. If I'm telling you, Sammy would watch it. He's not going to get offended. Sammy would laugh and be like, let me tell you how to do a fucking accent properly.
Yeah, maybe Sammy could give you some good pointers. But either way, this person got offended. I definitely appreciated that he called me out in private and not on stage since he was hosting the show. He could have very easily, embarrassed me. It's just the type of thing that I'm going, okay, I can't live the rest of my life worrying about not offending people. Like, naturally, people will either like you or hate you or be in the middle. But I don't want to be the divisive comedian.
You weren't. You know who the divisive comedian was? The asshole that came up to you is the divisive comedian. And a few years ago there was... I'm
not trying to paint him in a bad light.
No, I don't even know who the fuck you're talking about. I'm just saying that was the divisive comedian because I remember a couple of years ago at the Nest, it just by coincidence, both comics that went on had jokes and they were making fun of, and it was one was gay. The other, anyways, it was all about one had an ex-Greek gay boyfriend that was in the closet. It was all really, really gay Greek guy stuff. I was laughing. I was in the back. I laughed. And one of the comics is like, yo, man, you offended? I go, for what? Oh, because you went on before, and now they're
he's
saying that
Greek and-
it sounds like it's about you. I go, well, it's not about me. And even if, like, it's just a joke, bro. Like, I understand, yeah, but, they said Greek and this and that, and they're insinuating that closeted gay. I was like, yeah, that's the joke. They're just making it, why would I be offended? This is absurd. That means that nobody can make fun of Greeks. This is crazy. Yeah. And I was like, the divisive person here isn't the comedian on stage, because it wasn't about me. They wrote that joke before they ever met me. It was the person who was like, hey, that's troublesome. No, it isn't, dickhead.
I think there's a lot of people who are also worried about what other people think. So they take that position before, they are kind of told what to believe. There's a lot of people who are just kind of, well, fuck, we're going to jump on this train now because everyone else is.
I hate that.
And I think it's important to be critical and analytical, because what this host said to me on, in private, maybe some of it I felt was a little inflated and going, okay, I don't think I'm spreading hate speech. I think that's a bit exaggerated. But by the same token, yeah, it's good for me to know that an Indian person was offended by me, and I'm not Indian, so I should be sensitive to that as a comedian.
But what I'm trying to tell you, someone's always going to be offended. The good thing that comic did that I'm proud of is they didn't go online and be like, Olivia's a fucking racist.
Well,
the fact that they went directly is good.
And that's why I actually really appreciated it. Even though it fucking absolutely destroyed my ego. I was so like sad and mad at myself. It took me a few days to recover from it and be like, oh my God, am I the worst person on the planet? What have I done? I've offended. I'm not racist. Like, what? No. And then having to pull myself out of that and be like, no, you're not a bad person. Now thankfully this happened at this stage in your career, not when you're playing fucking Madison Square Garden. Like, but like, it's fine. But it's all part of the journey is what I'm saying.
It made you feel bad.
Yeah, but you know what? It's part of my experience. I'm not upset about it. I've learned from it. I've grown from it. I also don't think I need to succumb to it 100%. I think I can take and leave what I want and make my own choices. But, maybe doing impersonations of other races, not the best call.
But but here's the fucked up thing is you didn't do impersonation of races. You did impersonation of the lady threading your eyebrow, and she's of a certain race. That's what happens when you impersonate someone.
So can we do that? I just watched the Judd Apatow special again. I just rewatched it for fun. And
I'm sorry to hear that. You could spend your time watching better comedy, but go on.
It's because I was doing his master class, so I just said, I'm going to refresh my memory, and I actually love him. But he does a whole bit about Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And
he got into an argument with me on Twitter because of Bill Cosby.
What
Because he's a buffoon. Because he was mad. Some people were buying tickets to Bill Cosby's show, and I don't like Bill Cosby. I didn't like Bill Cosby before. It wasn't my type of humor. And I don't like rapists, so obviously I'm not a fan.
Oh, you don't?
No, like it's surprising, right? So obviously I'm not a fan of Bill Cosby, but I had said something because he was like confused about they should stop these people from going at it. He said something stupid about people that were buying tickets. And I said, yeah, this is fucking dumb. I wouldn't buy a ticket. But if they want to buy tickets, let them buy fucking tickets. Who are we? And then he was saying, well, he was telling me like he did something to my friend, or why are you supporting a rapist? Like, I'm not supporting a rapist, you fucking dummy. What I'm telling you is, if they want to go and buy his tickets, I can't go to every city and stop old ladies from buying tickets to his fucking show, you idiot. But there was no nuance, right? He was just very, you said they're allowed to buy tickets if they want to? You're pro-rape. Like, just crazy shit. So ever since that, I was like, I have no respect for this guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the spirit of...
Also, he got too political.
Well, he's pretty liberal, yeah. I just finished watching the special from like 2016 that we filmed here in Montreal. And it was, there's a lot of kind of anti-Trump stuff.
Which you can say anti-whatever. I'm not the pro-wing guy. It's just when you only start doing political stuff, you cease being a comic. Now you're just a political commentator.
Interesting.
Go with what's funny. I don't give a shit I say crazy shit on stage that I don't believe because it's funny. My goal is funny. My goal isn't to change your mind to vote for someone. That's insane. Well, I'm not a politician.
No, but there are comedians who are political comedians who use their platform to get their message out, which I don't think is a bad thing. But, I'm not a very politicized person publicly.
I'm sorry to shift this too, because you're talking about watching what you learn. I don't want to shift this.
Don't apologize. We're chilling.
I like him, and now he's shitting on him. I'm not mad or anything that you like. I fucking because he's done a lot of. He's been. First of all, I'm gonna say one thing about him: a good fucking filmmaker.
I'm very offended by all your opinions.
Did you see the Shandling documentary that he had made?
No, but I know all about it, and I know that Shandling was his mentor, and
one of the best documentaries ever made about anything.
Okay, I've heard about it. I'm sure we screened it at JFL or something.
One of the best ever about anything. Mm-hmm. Everything about it was beautiful. Okay. So I'm not knocking the guy on everything. I'm just saying that he's a bit of a dummy.
And you got beef on Twitter.
I had beef on, but it's not like I don't want anything bad to happen to the guy. Good for him, have success in your career. And I like giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
One of the best documentary filmmakers.
Yeah.
Like they should make him do all kinds of documentaries. That's how good I think he is.
No, he's the best.
But bit of a dick.
I worked with him personally. He was always a gentleman on my end, but I didn't get into a Twitter beef with him. So
There's that. But yeah, you were watching his special. And what happened?
and so he does a Cosby impression that's kind of extensive. It's like it's not just like one line. It's a good solid minute, 2 minutes on him impersonating Bill Cosby. But I think that a lot of comedy that I watch now, I look back and I go, this hasn't aged well because of the current climate. So the current climate stipulates that you, as a white person, should not, which in and of itself is politically incorrect to insinuate what people should or shouldn't do. But because the whole political correctness in and of itself is inherently politically incorrect because it insinuates that you should adhere to a code of conduct. So it's kind of oxymoronic in that sense. But regardless, to my point,
you get it because you're not an imbecile.
Thank you. But to my point, Judd Apatow doing a Bill Cosby impression in 2016 at the time didn't really seem like a big deal. And now I'm looking back and I'm going, well, everything my experience has taught me, this is actually not kosher. So is this allowed? Is it allowed because he's a rapist so we can make fun of him? Or, he's black, Judd's white. Where do we draw that line?
It's not allowed. It's allowed not because one's white, black, rapist, none of it. It's allowed because we live in a free society and it is a joke. And in order to create this art, which is joke, Judd Apatow needs to be allowed, just like he needs to be allowed to document it, he needs to be allowed to mock anything. He didn't, when he's impersonating Bill Cosby, he is not mocking a man for being black.
Yeah, the butt of the joke.
He's mocking a rapist who happens to talk funny. The fact that the rapist is black, that's secondary. That's not the nail he's hitting.
So you think as long as race isn't the focal point of the joke,
it could be the focal. It could be the focal point also, as long as the goal for a comedian, it's in there. It's comedy. It's to be funny. So if like people could, like I've made jokes about Greeks that are fucking. I brought it in and made fun of us because it was the perfect way to make fun of it. And it's like clearly he's making fun of Greeks, but it works. It's funny. It's not because I hate Greeks. I'm more proud than anything of being Greek. I love it. But it's a perfect opportunity for a joke. My goal is not to hurt Greeks. My goal is to go in with the funny. Judd Apatow, for example, in that joke, he's going to make fun. He's trying to find the funny in that situation. He's not like, who needs to be taken down? Black guys.
But I agree with you, which is why I had the audacity to get on stage and do that impression. But I had never considered how that could be perceived so negatively. And I asked so many people in Montreal after I did that set, what did you think? Including two of my very close friends who also are both Indian, and neither of them had any issues with it. And then I called my buddy in New York, who's development and used to work in management for comedians in New York. So he's in the biz, and I go like, Steve, what do you think of this? And he just starts laughing. He goes, oh, Olivia, it's 2020. You can't do that on stage anymore.
Steve is?
Steve's my buddy from New York. He works in development.
Well, is he Indian?
No.
What is he?
He's white.
Excellent. Of course, white. These guys, they're going to be guilty. He's in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say anything because this guy's in the business.
No, that's it. He's in New York City.
Yeah.
And going, okay, we're in not only am I in the States where the comedy industry is more booming, I'm in a bleeding heart liberal.
Yeah, he can't
state.
say shit.
New York City. I mean, it's yeah. So I don't know. It's all this food for thought that I'm going, okay, well, I have to make my own decisions. I can't just blow where the wind takes me. I need to stay firm in my beliefs.
But this isn't even a belief situation. It's not like you believe in making fun of Indians. This is just a joke that happened. That's the other thing is if you were a comedian who your whole thing is based on, let me make fun of races and make characters, then it'd be like, well, fuck, now you're stuck because this is a difficult climate to find new fans when that's all you're doing. But that's not the case at all.
Well, no, but my bit is very heavily centered on impersonations. So
are they all Indian?
No. In fact, it's mostly Quebecois, French from France. Like my experience growing up in Montreal and living in France, and
your experience doesn't matter anymore, Olivia, because you've hurt someone's feelings.
Well, I do feel bad about that, but I'm also growing as a result of it. So
I'm just busting your balls. You're fine.
You offend me greatly.
You could joke about whatever you want.
No, and I love that. I love that you have the balls to do that.
But it's not the balls, because I believe for the other person. Like I said, I don't take stuff personally, but also like Judd Apatow. Yeah, we had that. I didn't like the fact that he was trying to make me look like I support a rapist. Yeah. Especially a guy that I don't like. I don't like Bill Cosby. But I could separate him from the art.
I was going to ask you, do you think you could separate the artist from the art?
Of course, because I know his intention on stage is to make people laugh.
Yeah.
He might not be the best comedian, but he's a fucking good filmmaker. He's a good writer. And I could respect that because it's true. I go the ancient Greek way. I go with logic. Yeah. So the only way we could get to an actual truth,
The ancient Greek way.
yeah, it was all based on logic, right? Logic was the most important thing.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing as math and truth and like let's say I don't like you.
Okay.
I just don't like anything about you. But you come up with one of the best jokes.
Yeah.
For me to deny that, deny the truth, doesn't help anything. Because whether I say no, yes, it doesn't matter. The truth is, that's one of the best jokes.
No, I listen to Kanye West with so much gusto, but do I care to,
Listen to him as a human being?
not really.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like he's onto something. Or on something.
Yeah,
he's
well,
on.
both, but either way, yeah, listen, it's just, I agree that you can separate the two, though I don't care for Cosby, but
Well, Cosby, his comedy wasn't for me either.
yeah, no, I mean, I didn't grow up in that era. I never related to that content, but
I think I was skewed though from the beginning because the first stand-up that I saw, I think, was Eddie Murphy.
okay.
And Eddie Murphy was talking about how Cosby was telling him, you can't say this, you can't say that. So I think because I loved Eddie Murphy, I think that bothered me. Like, who the fuck is he to tell him since I was in high school, since I saw the stand-up from Eddie Murphy. So I think that may have planted a seed in my head for not liking Cosby initially.
But I'm also so confused as to how that would have transpired. Eddie Murphy is so raw, pun intended, like...
But that's what back in the day, yeah.
So I'm saying, but Cosby telling him, oh, you can't say certain things, and then Eddie Murphy goes on stage and does raw and basically shocks everybody.
Yeah, he said, fuck you.
Yeah,
It's like, fuck you, Bill.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, Eddie Murphy, yeah, he's the man for sure.
Oh, he's the fucking man. Yeah.
I have an autographed picture of him.
Really?
In my house. Yeah, because when I was growing up in elementary school, my friend's dad produced Pluto Nash.
What a shit movie.
Yeah, well, it didn't do very well, unfortunately, but I still got to go on set at Mel's studio. So I never got to meet Eddie, but I got to meet his stunt double, Nigel Carter, very nice man. But they brought me for my birthday a signed picture from Eddie Murphy that says, "Dear Olivia, peace and love, Eddie Murphy." And I never realized how much value that had when I was 10. And, I got that when I was 10 in my head. I'm like, oh, it's the Nutty Professor. It's, Eddie Murphy from the movies.
Yeah.
Now I'm a comedian. I'm going, this is fucking gold.
If your name wasn't on it, I would steal it and deny it.
Right? But how cool is that? To Olivia from Eddie Murphy. It's so sick.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm fanboying now. I'm very...
Yeah, listen, it's kind of a big deal.
It is a bit... To me, it's a big deal.
No,
To
it
me,
is.
these are my heroes,
No, it's awesome.
It's and he's also a guy that because he stopped...
Yeah.
I didn't have the opportunity, even as a fan, before doing stand-up, forget working with, just to go and see him live. He's one of these guys that I wish I could catch live that I never got the chance to.
Yeah.
And you never know, though. He might make a fucking comeback.
Yeah, if we can just pay him enough money.
He doesn't need us. He doesn't need the money anymore. Doesn't need the stress.
Yeah, I don't know.
Plus, I don't want to see him toned down.
You don't want to see him toned down? No. Nobody wants to see the Hollywood glamorized version of that. We want real Eddie Murphy.
The raw.
Yeah.
The raw guy.
The raw guy.
But I can't believe you let that shit get to you. Be understanding. Don't be a cunt. You know what I mean? Be understanding of people. Obviously, if you may have hit the wrong note. Yeah. Obviously. But look, you know where your jokes are coming from.
I do, but I'm new to this side.
Yeah.
I am new to this side. So to your point, I'm very much conditioned and trained to censor myself because I'm so used to being the ambassador for this huge company and schmoozing and talking to people and being the face that faces, our consumers. But to get chastised and called out, it kind of shook me. And I'm like, fuck, the first year I'm doing this and already I'm offending people.
But that's when it's going to happen because you don't know how to write jokes properly yet. So normally...
Tread lightly. And
I used to fuck around, and not even on purpose. And they're like, dude, that was incredibly racist. I was like, in a funny way, right? Like, no. And I was like, okay, I'll tone that down.
But you're on the other sort of more extreme side. No, I'm not saying you're extreme, but I'm saying
I'm an extremist. I'm a
you're
well-known
a
jihadist.
Fundamental jihadist. No, you're definitely more on the liberal side of things as far as freedom of speech and saying what you want. And obviously that's in line with your values, which I appreciate. But is there not merit to some of what I was told? Do you not feel there's a little bit of merit?
100%, because the person, I'm assuming, was actually offended. Mm-hmm. So there's merit in learning where the line is, because you're never gonna know where the line is in comedy until you cross it. So for this joke, the way you're framing it, I've heard jokes like this. It's not an offensive joke because you were not making fun of the person's accent. Mm-hmm. You were describing them, and that's how they are. Yeah. It's like if you'll make fun of my accent, that's how I sound. Mm-hmm. It's not a race thing. It's just how I sound. Mm-hmm. So that's fine. However, it's important to listen as well, because sometimes you go, like sometimes even my jokes, I go over the line. Mm-hmm. And the only way I know is after or during, if the gasps are.
There's an oh.
Yeah, well, I get but there's some now that I plant them on purpose.
And you're like,
then,
oh, come on, guys, come on.
And then when they realize what I did, they're like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" I like doing that to fuck with them, but that's a different story. Sometimes I get awes because I overdo it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's the line with this audience. That's the line with the next. Okay, I overdid that. Let me tone it down. So it's very important. You have to you can't just go up there and just yell whatever you want. It has to be funny, and they keep you in check. And you have to be conscious of that. But you have to also remember that a lot of people are idiots. And if you would stop your joke at every person that gets offended, you would stop doing stand-up because they're going to find... People were mad at me in 2013, 2014 because I was making a joke about about Greece tanking the economy.
I think I vaguely remember this, yeah.
And a guy at the Comedy Nest outside came and was talking to me and a lady about how you don't find that... And I was like, for who? Yeah. I'm the Greek guy. You're not Greek. What are you talking about? Who's this going to offend? I'm the Greek guy making fun of our economy. This is not even an offensive joke. Did you hear the joke I said about black guys? That's way more offensive. This is what you came talking about.
Yeah.
So you can't control that.
You can't control that, but I do think there is a way to approach it so that you are not saying anything gratuitously.
Yeah.
Or capriciously just for the sake of plugging it. I think if you're then going to take an approach that you know is maybe a little bit risque, you know it's a bit divisive, you know some people might get offended, well, it better be really funny then.
There you go. But the thing is, I'm just giving the Greek joke example, everyone laughed.
Right.
But you're always going to find these people, Olivia. Yeah. So you have to know. So if nobody laughs at your joke and they're all offended, then maybe the joke's the problem. But if everyone's laughing and then that one time someone comes to you, you can't just stop doing comedy.
No, but it definitely, I think it was good. It was good to get knocked down.
I think the problem is Indians. Indians are the problem in this joke. But it is good that they came to speak to you personally because there's comics.
Yeah, they would just publicly fucking tore me a new asshole, and I'm very grateful that he didn't do that.
Yeah.
And he did say that to me. He goes, when I was starting out, I got fucking shamed, and so I'm coming to you privately because I didn't want to transpose that onto you.
You tell him to give you names of who publicly shamed him and hand them over to me.
Okay, perfect.
Because I don't like when this kind of shit. They tried to do it to me and Mike last year on Twitter. And fucking dog walk these broads.
Well, between you and Mike, I wouldn't even bark up that tree. But people have.
Oh yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it. I tried to hold by my tongue, and then Mike's like, "Actually, do whatever you want." I was like, "All right, this is
freedom of speech, bitch."
Yeah. And then I actually felt bad for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it got ugly.
But don't engage with Mike and Pantelis if you can't handle it.
But it wasn't even engage. They know us. She could have, because she knew that what she was saying was bullshit. But she could have literally texted Mike or anything. Hey, what's this mean or whatever? Your fan tweeted this. Does this mean this? None of that. Just publicly. I can't believe none of this and that. And it's like, what? She was trying to call us racist or some shit or pro police brutality. Even funnier. Even very more specific. And I was like, this is absurd. Can I go at her? And Mike's like, nah, leave her. Then I was like, I'm gonna go at her.
Because it's a difference, right? But yeah, between. Engaging in something that is like for an actual cause or has purpose or there's a reason to be having an argument versus just starting shit online and trolling.
Yeah, this was people haven't been speaking about me or I'm not the center of attention. Let me try to make myself a hero, but to no one. Everyone's like, you're clearly, this is made up. You're creating an enemy, Yeah. That's like me right now switching the argument on you and being like, so this whole time you've never said anything against Nazis. Clearly you're a Nazi. You'd be like, what the fuck kind of logic is that?
The logic, it's very easy to spin things too. Yeah. The media doesn't help in providing accurate news telling, but
that's how we got to do it.
Yeah, the comedians, I don't know, we got
to be honest.
I think that's where I'm struggling right now is to find my identity, my voice. I know a lot of comedians don't really find their voice till they're doing it for at least like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. To really find your unique voice, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously still in the early stages of figuring out who I am on stage. What is that perspective that I'm trying to share and why is it unique and interesting?
For the record, because you talk about voice work, you do have a good voice.
Thank you.
So let's get that out of the way. You do have a good voice.
Much.
I don't think voiceover work's going to be a problem for you.
Thank you. No, that I've been doing for a long time. So that's kind of my little hustle on the side. But as far as stand-up goes, I'm still relatively new. So part of this identity crisis is going, okay, well, what's my voice? What's my tone? What's my metaphorical voice? And okay, I already know I'm not a political comedian. I already know I don't want to be a divisive comedian, but I also don't want to have to tiptoe. I'm not Jim Gaffigan either. I'd like to swear and I'd like to say some raunchy shit. And like, if I make a sex joke, like...
He's impressive though.
Yeah.
Because he makes people laugh without going too crazy. And he has a huge demographic of different people that like him. It's hard. It's not easy to do.
I
he
always
does.
say, like him, Ryan Hamilton, Chelsea Peretti, like there's certain comedians who are clean. Well, Chelsea's not as clean as the other two, but like still. If you can make me cackle out loud without swearing or alluding to anything sexual, that's fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Ryan Hamilton, Ronnie Chang.
Ryan Chan's a funny dude.
Ronnie
too,
Chang kills me. Ryan Hamilton kills me. Gaffigan kills me. There's so many funny comics out there. Or sorry, there's not that many funny comics out there who are clean and can make you laugh your ass off. That's a talent. I agree with you.
Bill Burr makes me laugh.
Well, yeah, but he's the opposite of clean, right?
He's the opposite of clean. But here's the thing. It's not so much like he's not gratuitous. Because even what's funny is about me when people will talk about me without seeing me.
Yeah.
They'll just assume every second word on stage is fuck.
Right.
It isn't. It's just that the subject matter is places where, oh shit, are we going to race? Are we going to this? Are we going to that? But it's not. Every second word isn't fuck. Right. I try to use them sparingly.
Yeah.
So they have
So
some
more
impact.
impact, yeah.
But if you don't know, you're like, oh, I'm assuming this guy is just swearing a lot. Like, but it's not. It's not just like Bill Burr. The way people describe him, like, have you watched him? He's not saying fuck every second word. He just approaches things like beating his wife. He just approaches things in a funny way.
He's passionate.
Yeah.
He does swear a lot, but I agree with you. It's part of his shtick. It's part of the act. And also, I was recently told that people who swear more often are smarter, and I'm gonna run with that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, not true. I am an imbecile.
Are you? Are you?
Well, maybe not an imbecile, but I don't know if that's. I don't know if it's. I think it's autism. I'm convinced that I have a form of autism, and my brain works for jokes differently, like the way someone's brain works for math or whatever. Because I'll catch stuff and it'll say no filter. The way an autistic would do things. It's just that I use them for jokes. So I know if I would get tested, I'd be on some kind of spectrum because I can't control it. Stuff will come out of me where I know while it's coming out, I was like, don't fucking say this. But at the same time, like, this is hilarious. And they'll come out quick. You know, like I had a guy before, he was sitting here home, he brought us coffees. And his first two sentences, he's like, okay, I gotta stop. Like, just stop talking. Like every sentence because he's like, oh, I met this girl, she was an 11. He goes, on 10. And I was like, you should have stopped at 11. That's what I thought you were going to go with. And just everything was just coming out of my mouth, but they weren't pre-planned. It's just, you said something and now this is the best joke for it. It's autism because there's no filter. A human being has a filter.
I wouldn't purport to diagnose anything as autism. I don't know enough about how to approach that jargon. And
I'm not offended.
I know you're not.
I'm representing all the autistics. We're cool with it.
I think actually it's considered very offensive to say the autistics, and in theory we're supposed to approach it as people with autism, so that their disorder or place on the spectrum doesn't define
we don't have
them.
we don't have a disorder. We're just different.
But you're using a collective we as
I represent everyone now. I'm playing that game. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to engage too much on that.
Is this your first argument with an autistic?
No, I'm very sensitive to. To autism, to using labels like that.
Jokes aside, though, I don't know about you, but a lot of comics, I'm not even joking,
have a form of autism.
100%, yeah. And I'm not ashamed. I'm happy about it.
You shouldn't be ashamed. Yeah. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Thank you. You're an ally.
Yeah, no, I am. I just want to be careful of how I use that word. That's all.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. They haven't elected me president, but I see myself kind of like the de facto president.
I know you're just joking, but
I swear to God.
No, but there are people who will be offended by this conversation.
Because they didn't vote me in?
There's a degree of sensitivity towards people who live with autism that we have to be mindful of.
I'm as mindful as I can be, but again, I have autism, so.
Okay, well, it's possible. I mean, I have ADHD. That's what causes me to not have a filter.
That's what I thought I had.
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. No, I actually I got diagnosed with it.
I thought I had ADD. That's why. But it's a form of autism. But it's not debilitating in any way.
Right.
It does keep me from sleeping because I'm always like thinking of shit.
You're
like,
wired all the time.
I'm always wired.
Yeah, like me.
But I don't I use it for good.
But I think if you're gonna be a comic and get on stage, something has to be like a little.
Yeah, we have to be a little fucked up. Yeah,
you gotta have something, and not to say that every comedian has to have trauma or baggage, but though definitely that can fuel and contribute greatly to your content.
Mike is autistic too. He got his test.
You're kidding?
Yeah, because he's the first one to notice and say it, and then I started looking into it. I was like, is this a joke or not? And then I realized, like, oh, motherfucker. And then he did his test. And he also used it against a woman that was attacking him. Oh, he goes, why are you making fun of an autistic person?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he got his test. I'm telling you, there's a certain spectrum. That's why we're like this.
I mean, I'd have to really read a lot more about that.
Not all of us. Some people are just assholes.
Yeah. No, I celebrate everyone. I think, everybody's on a spectrum, right?
We're cool people.
Yeah.
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 We're very accepting. We don't cancel anyone.
I don't know. Are there not, where do you draw the line, Pantelis?
Yeah. Pain. I draw the line at hurtful things. Like if the goal is to hurt, that's where I personally draw the line. So for example, if you're in the audience, something happens, let's say, and I start talking to you. My goal is going to be to make you and the people around you laugh.
Right.
I don't know, let's say I know you personally and I find out that your boyfriend cheated on you.
Yeah.
I won't be like, yeah, you stupid bitch, like he cheated on you because that's not funny. Yes, somebody might laugh at that, but that's me trying. My goal is not to make you laugh. My goal is to hurt you. That I don't like.
Okay, so when there's this kind of gratuitous shock
It's
or
the
picking
intent.
at someone,
It's the intent, because I'll pick on people,
Yeah.
but in a way that I want us to all laugh together, including them.
Right.
I'm not randomly gonna go to someone and be like, hey, retard, what the? Like, it's just, first of all, it creates a dark cloud in the room when you do it. I've seen comics go after people, even hecklers. There's a way to go after them without being too crazy, and then you make the room feel weird. But me, it's always the intent behind it. Was the intent to make people laugh, or was the intent to make people sad? Because if you're going to make people sad, it could happen without it being intentional. So I have no control over it.
Yeah, no, every audience member is obviously going to come to a show with their preconceived notions, with their experience, their conditioning, whatever they've grown up with.
All I control is my intention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think sometimes the intention takes a back seat to the outcome because it can be perceived as intentionally offensive.
But I finally learned, and it took me years. In the beginning, I was like, I'm busting your balls because you are me. I'm seeing you in me. Because I used to have that problem too. I was like, well, but I'm not angry at this person. I'm not homophobic. I'm not this.
Right.
How do I? But then I was like, it's because I'm overthinking it now. You can't. I can't control your perception. I don't know what happened to you during the day. I don't know what kind of argument you got into.
What you start with the day. What was your day like?
What was your day like? Forget the life. What was I don't know what happened to you today, or even women who are like mansplaining this. I don't know what happened to you with your boss or with another man today.
Who hurt you?
Yeah, I don't know. So if I'm sitting there analyzing, I can't say anything. Only thing I could control is me, how I say things, like how I feel. I'm telling you right now, people already know this, but everything I say on stage is because I think it's going to be funny. It makes me laugh, and I hope that you laugh. Never, I say something, I'm like, oh, someone's going to cry tonight when they go home.
No, it's funny because you're actually like a friendly.
Yeah, it's never mind. I don't want that. I think the reason why I love comedy is that exchange. You're laughing, I'm laughing, I have a good time. It's never, and even gasps. If you know how to work in gasps like I do, it makes it fun.
Well, yeah, that's a tactic I see a lot of the time where there's shock humor and it's, oh, come on, can't you take a joke? And that kind of.
I play on that now with a new bit that I do, but it's more of, but I go, you don't see it coming. Like I hit you with a hook on purpose, but I had set it up minutes earlier that it could work both ways. If you gasp, the joke's on you because of what I said a few minutes earlier. Right. And if you laugh at it, then we just plow through. But it took a while to get there.
Well, to be able to build your craft that way.
Yeah,
it's not easy to.
Oh, I could never, you see me 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I wouldn't have the skills to do that.
Yeah, no, but that's the type of thing that comes with experience, and I think that's what I miss most about being on stage is not being able to hone my craft. It's a year now I'm going without getting on stage.
You're gonna be.
We're all gonna be so rusty.
But again, just to answer your question, I'm not dodging it. It's how I see the line is the intent.
No, I think that does answer it, and it's just unfortunately the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So it's a bit of a fine line. And I think I agree that it's like fiercely important to feel that you can say what you need to say. And I think comedians should not be censored for the most part. Obviously without, talking about inciting hatred and violence is a problem, hate speech, but short of that,
but what is hate speech? That's another thing that I'm tricky about, like the definition of hate speech, right?
Well, I think it's anything that's inciting violence or inciting hatred on purpose, targeting a specific group.
But if that's the definition, then we all have to agree on that. Because you just said that, but if I make the wrong joke and it has nothing to do with any of that, some people come and be like, that's hate speech. Well, really? So that's clumped in there too?
Well, I think that's why there's so many disagreements and so much contention on this subject matter, this notion of freedom of speech, and where is that line drawn? It's
crazy.
Subjective.
Yes.
Yet it should be objective. But at the same time, everybody's got different thresholds and what's offensive and what's not and what's too much. And, I'm a Jew. I don't.
What?
Yeah,
Who
shocking.
the fuck let you in here?
Shocking.
We have a sign in front. We have a sign in front, but you didn't read it.
I am Jewish. I'm proud to be Jewish, but I'm also, try not to publicize it too much. That being said,
A lot of people not fans.
yeah, no, that unfortunately it's a thing. So when I see comics make Holocaust jokes, for the most part, I think it's okay to laugh, exercise a little bit of caution depending on the comic and the joke. But for the most part, it's like I can laugh at a Hitler joke in the same way that I'd like to laugh at other racial jokes that I find really funny.
But that's, again, because it's a joke. Like, Norm Macdonald had that good joke about Hitler's dog. And
So I just had this conversation. It's Kurt Braunohler that has that bit about
Oh, is
Hitler's
it?
dog. Who did you say?
Norm Macdonald.
Well, maybe Norm also has one, but Kurt Braunohler has a whole
Is it a
bit.
good joke?
It's fucking hilarious.
There you go.
But I just got into this discussion with one of my family members the other day, and I was saying, like, this is so funny, and I repeated the joke, and he went, well, I actually don't have such an appreciation for Hitler jokes and, like, Holocaust jokes.
But do you know why? And they're not wrong.
Yeah.
That person in your family is not wrong.
Yeah.
Because the way he's wired, she's wired in their mind, the second Hitler or Holocaust comes, it draws up shitty memories
Exactly.
or thoughts.
Yeah.
So everything closes. It could be the best joke ever, it doesn't matter, which
Yeah.
is perfectly fine because it's subjective.
Exactly.
You know? So, and that's okay too. Of course that's okay. You have the right to be offended. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It does not take away from the fact that, and I don't know that joke, but I'm assuming the way you're acting that it's a well-crafted good joke. It doesn't take away that the joke is intended to be a joke.
Yeah.
The butt of the joke is not hurting Jews, you know, it's probably Hitler. And it's funny. That's the core of it.
Yeah, but I laugh at that, but another Jew won't laugh at that. And then it's going, okay, well, as two Jews, let's discuss how to define whether this is too offensive. Does it cross the line, or is it safe, but it's you that's the problem? Or
But you can't. You know why?
can't,
Because
you
you
can't.
liked it, they didn't. So you know what the compromise is?
what?
This isn't for you.
Yeah.
This is for me.
Nished for mir.
And that's it.
moving
Don't watch
on.
it. Don't watch it. You don't need to start a petition. Just don't watch. You know the guy was joking.
Yeah.
Plus, some jokes are fucking well crafted, and you're like, God damn, that's a fucking good joke.
I'm curious to know the Norm Macdonald joke you're thinking of.
Oh, I don't remember it verbatim right now, but his latest it centers around how even Hitler was like dogs love you, right?
This is Kurt Braunohler. I'm sure it's
really?
Kurt Braunohler because I'm sure you're about to go into the bit that I know off by heart by Kurt.
Just how what was Norm's? But I think his special is called Hitler's Dog or something like that.
Oh, maybe then.
It's the fact that dogs don't know, like dogs love you. Like even Hitler, there was a dog that loved him. It's something around that.
So Kurt has a whole bit where he goes, I forget how he gets into it, but it's along the lines of like, we don't deserve dogs. Dogs are so incredible.
Dogs are the best.
They're the fucking best. And like dogs love you unconditionally no matter what. I bet you even Hitler had a dog that was so excited for him to come home at the end of the day, and Hitler would come home and he'd wag his tail. And
I thought it was Norm Macdonald. I might be making a mistake.
He'd go, Hitsy's home. Yay, Hitsy's
That's
home.
funny.
I fucking thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But like,
Because the dog doesn't know any better.
no, and it's like we're not like obviously yes, it's a Hitler joke, but it's more about how shocking that, like it just shows you the juxtaposition of dogs are so fucking great that they even love Hitler.
Yeah,
You know?
but also because they don't know. The joke's about how cool dogs are. It's just that Hitler is the gateway. Hitler's bringing you to that joke. It's not about that. Another thing, that's why some people, when they hear words, they automatically shut off.
But it could have been Mussolini. It could have been
Anyone.
You know,
But then the Italians might have got mad at Mussolini or the Ethiopians. Who the fuck knows, right?
yeah.
But Hitler's easy to understand for most
everybody,
people.
yeah.
Everybody's gonna get the Hitler reference, and it's fucking funny to think about because you're like the most evil person ever that we have documented. And you're like, oh, fuck, that's true. He probably got in there, did dog voices too. You're like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's substance to it. It's a funny joke.
Yeah.
It's a funny joke, and it does not diminish anything.
It's
Like-
just it's so subjective, I think, because also it's so much about personal experience. The history of the Jews is so sensitive, and there's obviously so much sadness there. And I think people, it's not for everyone. That's
No.
really where I chalk it up to. It's just not for everyone.
Yeah, it's not like he's up there. He's like the Holocaust, things that never happened.
Right, no,
and then he just continues, and you're like, but are you going to go back to that, or is that?
Or is that it? Yeah.
Or is the Iran talking points just how we're starting this bit? Like, what's happening?
No, so in that sense, I agree with you. It's determining, kind of hate speech and gratuitous hate speech and things that intend to hurt versus I'm just trying to elicit a laugh.
I'm going with intention, but again, I am probably I don't know how far in the spectrum I am, so maybe my opinion. No, for real, you're like this guy shouldn't have an opinion, but I personally believe the intent is all that matters because I cannot control how you feel. I could control how I'm trying to make you feel. I'm trying to make you laugh, but I can't control how you take it. It's impossible, no matter what I do. because I might make jokes that are perfect for Olivia. She loves these, and then the girl next to you is like, "Hey, what the fuck?"
There are limits, though.
Yeah.
There are limits that exist.
There are limits, but again, because normally those limits they don't come from the right place. Because I've heard fucking hilarious rape jokes.
Yeah, no, but that's the question: is what is off limits? Okay, most comedians will tell you that they feel nothing should be off limits.
I feel nothing should be off limits. Again, nothing should be off limits. We should discuss everything, but I mean for comedy, nothing should be off limits. And if you can make it funny, more power to you. It's a local girl here, and she doesn't even do comedy full time. She talks about her rape, and she made a joke out of it. And it's a fucking hilarious joke.
Well, that's really powerful.
That's what I said, but there was women that were upset in the beginning about it.
But if it's her experience.
That's what I fucking said.
If it's personal.
I said, who are you? She got raped. If she wants to turn it into a fucking joke, it's not your fucking problem to tell her.
It's also a coping mechanism. It's power. There's power in that.
I'll tell, because I don't want to ruin it for her,
you
but
don't,
I'm going to tell you after. You're going to agree. You're going to be like, fuck, that's a good joke.
Yeah. No. Power to her if she can talk about it and use the stage as a platform.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd be able to, if I got raped. I don't know if I'd be able.
Yeah, it's awful.
I wish I could make a joke out of it, but I don't know if I could. She fucking had the presence of mind of making a good joke out of it.
But I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's like it also, you write what you know and say what you know. So that should be personal to your experience. When you get on stage, you can't make claims and talk on behalf of another group of which you're not a part or you don't subscribe to. So
I only talk about Muslims on stage.
Well, that's just fantastic.
And I go, let me tell you, look, they're like, how do you know? I watch Al Jazeera. Look, they need to be stopped. And I'm like, what is this? What is happening right now?
No, exactly. I think, no, listen, it's an interesting conversation. Obviously, we're not reinventing the wheel here. It's a big topic.
It's a good topic, though. I like that you're thinking about it because for you, look, I've had the business world, so I knew when I had to keep my mouth shut a bit. But I'd get away with a lot even in the business world. Like I have that ability where most people get that I'm joking.
Yeah.
So I would say shit that other people couldn't.
Right.
And they're like, I don't know why no one's offended. I don't know how the fuck you get away with saying that shit. Like, it's just.
Well, you get away with it because you're not afraid.
Maybe, yeah. And I guess I think I make my intentions clear from the get go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's so. It takes a lot of courage to put content out there truly without worrying about backlash, truly without concern for public opinion.
You know what I think it is?
What?
And I've been doing some French podcasts, and a guy asked me that. I did it for him last week, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" He goes, why aren't you worried? Because you always say whatever the fuck you want. You go hard in the paint. You get into fights with whoever starts something. You don't care who it is, and you get in there." I said, because I don't feel like I have any important enough opinions for you to hate me for it. Because I don't really, the stuff I feel strongly about are people's individual freedoms, liberty of expression, like make sure people are free. That's where the rest of the stuff we could talk, like the economic stuff or we could talk about that. You could sway me one way or another. The shit that I yell about are movies, ridiculous, stupid things,
Yeah.
So I don't have strong enough points where you're like, this guy's anti this. I don't.
Yeah. So it's worth it for you to actually defend yourself because you're like, suck my dick. I don't.
Yeah, because I don't have any strong, like any political, like this is my candidate. I don't have any of that.
Right.
So what are you going to get mad at? The fact that I like this movie over this movie? Like, what are you really going to get mad at?
Yeah, I think, people also like to feel relevant and I don't know. I stay away from all like public debate. I don't like getting into shit on Facebook and like.
Oh, Facebook, I stopped.
It's like forget it. Just forget it.
But Twitter sometimes.
No, I don't even.
Oh, sometimes it'll get crazy. I've stopped recently, but sometimes they'll just get. I'm gonna jump in here.
I'm the Michael Jackson eating popcorn in the comment section.
That's but it's fun.
I'm only here for the comments.
Sometimes they don't know that you're fucking with them too. Like I know that I could just say this sentence. Like I would just type the sentence out and they're just going to go on crazy. So sometimes I'll do it just to fuck with them and then watch them. They're basically talking to themselves.
Yeah.
Like I have notifications off.
Yeah.
So unless I actively go find it, I'm never going to see this again. So I just do it on purpose. I plant a little bomb, be like, all right, knock yourself out, retard. And then I leave. Look at you. I said retard and you freaked out. You think I didn't notice?
Yeah.
I even thought about it in my head.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. Do you feel that that's an offensive word?
It can be. I think anything could be offensive. I think whitey could be offensive if you want it to be. Mm-hmm. Retard could 100% be offensive.
Okay.
It is offensive, but again, who is, like I would never go to a child or a person with mental retardation and call them a retard.
Okay, but do you acknowledge that even in perpetuating the use of that word, you're essentially, and I'm not trying to put you now on blast.
No, I'm listening. I like where this is going.
Yeah, I appreciate the discourse. I think, do you accept or agree that there is inherently a derogatory negativity to that word?
Of course, there's a negative, derogatory as well. Yeah, of course, because that's why we use it, right? Mm-hmm. You're trying to describe something that's
in
retarded.
in a negative fashion.
Well, not in a negative fashion. Like when I say retarded, I mean that it's a little held back. It's a little. I mean it for the actual word. Like in French.
Yeah.
I mean that it's retarded. You know. But what's the debate? If we use it, we're perpetuating it. It's continuing.
Yeah, just to even have it existing in the ether of your vernacular is in and of itself problematic to some people or a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it's like the N-word or...
the N-word in rap. So then that's the opposite. Then it's super into rap. So then one word, we're taking it back. The other word, what?
No, the N-word, I think, is off limits to any white person.
No, I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about in general in culture, right? So rap music...
Yeah, but that's a reclaiming of that word by that group of people that we have I don't personally feel I have the right to have an opinion on that. That's not my place. But
you could have an opinion.
Sure, but like I don't need to need to exercise my opinion on that. That's not my
That's more like it.
You know what I mean? Like
I like that.
I could have opinions, but like I don't need to have say my opinion on everything.
I like what you just said.
Okay.
That's a smart person comment for the record.
Thank you so much.
Someone else would have been like, I can have my fucking opinion.
No, like not everybody needs to always hear my opinions.
There you go.
You know, but I think, that like certain negative thought cycles and concepts are perpetuated just by the use of a word like the word retard,
Okay.
which is inherently offensive because nobody's using that word in a complimentary fashion. So ultimately, the question is, well, why employ that word if you know it's inherently offensive?
Because that's what you're trying to describe. You're trying to describe a retarded situation.
At the expense of people who suffer from mental retardation. Right?
Well, I see what you're saying. You're saying because they suffer from mental retardation, every time you use the word retard, it's like you're making fun of them, not the situation. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, you're devaluing, what they offer to society. You're making a kind of.
Well, no, I'm not talking about them at all. I'm talking about a situation. Like, let's say if I'm being a retard and you call me a retard, you're talking about me.
Sorry,
right?
Keep using that word. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you're talking about me. You're not talking about the next person down there. You know?
Right.
Like, look, cunt. Cunt is a fun word to use.
Mm-hmm.
When I use it here, sometimes your face is like, oh fuck, that's a little heavy. If I was in the UK. You'd be like, why don't you use it more?
Right, because in Australia too.
Yeah, so there's sounds we make with our mouths, right? That's what I'm saying. The intent is what I always consider the important thing, because I would never. You know why I wouldn't go call someone with any problems, or just like I wouldn't go up to someone that, like, I'll make fun of AIDS, but if I know that you're dying of AIDS, I wouldn't be like, oh fuck, you have it. I wouldn't do that because that's insane. That's hurtful. You're just trying to hurt the person.
Yeah.
Go ahead, talk, make jokes about AIDS, but don't go after the guy that has AIDS and remind him. You see what I'm saying?
I understand your point. I think context matters and intention matters.
Yeah.
I just think that fundamentally, even if you don't mean to kind of spew hatred or negativity about another group, the sheer act of employing that word in and of itself insinuates that there's negative opinions about it. And I'm not saying that you, Pantelis, have those opinions.
Obviously.
I'm just saying that is what is construed when you use a word like retard.
Yeah.
And like, I think things don't need to be censored all the time. I think
I don't like they're trying to make retard into like the N-word. Like the N-word has only exists for shitty reasons. You understand? Like in our vernacular, in our language, it doesn't exist for anything else.
Like the N-word came about as a hateful word. Yes.
That's the only reason why it exists.
It carries hate. Yes, and the word retard is more technical.
It's retarded. It's backward. Like that's why I'm saying so. It's not, oh shit, if you say retarded, if something like, because you say, especially it might also be because of French school.
Because like you say retardé
all the time.
French.
Retardé. It's always, my whole life was, so it doesn't have, so again, contextualizing it, in my head, it doesn't have the same sound that, let's say, someone who grew up differently, that it was never used, they hear it, maybe they're like, oh fuck, that's excessive. Like when I see you react, it feels like, oh fuck, okay, contextually she grew up differently. It's kind of like when I hear white guys just dropping N-bombs normally. I'm like, this is fucking interesting.
Okay, I don't ever condone that. Like
I didn't say condone, but there's people who grew up in certain neighborhoods that's what they're around.
Yeah, I don't support that. I don't support that at all.
Well, you can't not. That's what they grew. Like people who grew up in Detroit, it's 3 white guys and 57 black people, and that's how they all speak to each other. He's not doing it to make you uncomfortable.
Sure, and like I'm not going to cast judgment on that.
Yeah, so to me, it's alien. To me, I'm like, this is fucking crazy, but I can't tell the guy, hey, fuck you, go get a time machine, grow up differently. I'm just gonna observe it from a distance and be like, there's a situation here.
Conditioning has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between a white person who grows up amongst a black community and is a minority in their community, and that's kind of the arrangement they have in their community.
And me and you being stuck in traffic. I get it.
You and I dropping N-bombs is completely out of the question in my view.
It should be.
Just personally speaking, I don't like that word. So, and I'm just speaking for me.
You gotta drive with me a bit.
But no, I think maybe you and I differ a little bit on that approach to certain. There's words that I don't employ at all that I stay away from, like the R word, because I just don't think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
If you feel differently, I can't.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If a situation is R word, if a situation is retarded, what do you use?
I don't think that word is a good.
What would you use? Like the way, let's say I just used it. What would you use instead? And I'm actually curious.
Well, I think it depends on the situation, but complicated, difficult, convoluted, complex, interesting, not fun, problematic.
None of those are retarded though. That's the thing. I don't think it means the same thing to you that it does to me.
Delayed.
The situation is delayed.
And that's a literal translation of retarded.
Delayed?
Yes.
Would we use that?
The
The situation is delayed. Doesn't that? I feel like then we're just late.
But that is the
We're not
inherent
slow.
meaning. That's the inherent meaning of that
Slow.
word. Yeah, slow.
Delayed.
Why
I
not?
don't like it. It doesn't feel good.
Listen, you and I are going to agree to disagree on this, but
Yeah, this is why I love you.
I love you too, man.
I'm just saying.
It's okay.
And I'm glad that there's certain words. I don't want you to use words that I use just because I use them.
I won't. But either way,
Because there's words we can agree on. So, right?
someone said the I don't want to say the F word, fuck, but the other word, the other F word that's derogatory towards gay people.
Oh my! I swear to God, I thought you were talking about fuck, and I was like, really? You're
No.
using
I can
F
say
word?
fuck, F-A-G-G-O-T. I don't want to say it out loud. But somebody used that word with me the other day, and I genuinely was taken aback, and I was like, oh.
How was it used?
Literally, he was like, oh, because she's up. And then
I get called a faggot a lot online.
it's so terrible.
I don't mind it because I'm not gay.
Well, even if you were gay, it's like being gay is not an insult. So why are you using it as an insult?
I'm saying maybe if I was gay, I would take it more insultingly. I'm just like, all right, it rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why.
Maybe.
But you see, but this is something that it's interesting how you bring that up because I guess the way I grew up too with language, and I don't let the words do the fighting, like the pun, you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. You're
but
able to look at the situation from a more global perspective.
But I also can't decide for you what bugs you, you know? Like I can't tell you, hey, don't be offended at that, because that's a dick thing to say too. You know what I mean?
Well, that's my point earlier about PC culture is in and of itself inherently not PC.
Yeah. Because I don't want, like, let's say somebody calls me a faggot, even just for like just to fuck around purposes, not even trying to be insulting or anything. I can't then turn around to you if you're a gay man and that bugs you. I can't be like, hey man, don't take it like that. I can't do that's crazy. How the fuck am I gonna control your emotions?
No. You
You know, I
can't.
don't know what the fuck you've been through or how people use that word towards you.
But
So
then
I don't like that either. Yeah.
But then it's about being self-aware, really.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna use those words and you're gonna take that approach, then stand by them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then own it. At the very least. Like, so that's what you do. And that's, I can
Yeah, but
respect
again,
that.
I don't also go around yelling at people fucking obscenities. I joke about it, but I don't actually, I'm not going to go around and random strangers, call them racial epithets and shit like that.
Yeah.
Even though probably would be hilarious, but not for everyone
Not
involved.
for everyone.
Yeah, I think you have to be self-aware and understand, first of all, know your audience, but also understand, again, the hurtful part. Yeah. Like, I don't know how to, it's fucking strange. It's hard for me to describe it, but you know what you're doing. You know what your intention is. So you can use shitty words and convey them in a way where everybody will laugh, will be good. And you could cut people with no swearing and no racial words. You could cut people. I'd rather have the person who they might use the wrong word or whatever, but their intention is a happy one, than have that slick person that's going to cut you up and down, but never swearing. You know what I mean? Because you could hurt me, you could hurt someone without using derogatory terms. It's doable. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think it's the word that carries the balance, though I do understand there are some words that, goddamn, man, you're on TV, you're not going to start calling the newscaster a faggot, dropping N-bombs. That's crazy. Yeah. For a lot of reasons. Not just because kids, like, people are watching, but also that's a little absurd. There's no tact to it. You know?
Listen, it's interesting to hear it from you because you're a little bit divisive.
I am divisive. This is true, but like I said, I don't try to be.
No, but you are who you are.
Yeah.
I respect that. You say what you want to say. Sometimes it's offensive. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it isn't, but it can be perceived as such.
Well, that's my life, yeah.
And so I think definitely in the way of freedom of speech, you're doing something right. I think we also just need to be sensitive to people. It all comes down to people. Our audience is so important.
Yeah.
We need our audience to be comedians. like we need our audience members. So I think for me, it's very difficult to. I'm trying very hard to be a comedian that doesn't isolate.
It's not a
while still being substantial, while still having something.
What
to
scares
say.
you?
Yeah,
people's opinions. What scares you?
Yeah, it comes down to being branded or regarded as somebody who is not humane or not sensitive or not progressive. I would like to be known as somebody who is forward thinking because I feel that my values and my views align with that adjective. So progressive, yeah, and forward thinking and big thinking and not a bigot. Like like my greatest fear is to be regarded as somebody who's racist or a bigot and therefore or prejudiced, and that's why I was so viscerally affected by getting called out on stage, because I went, oh fuck, it's not even for a joke about sexuality or something like that. It's really about race, and that's such a hot topic, and that is so. I am so genuinely a person who loves connecting with people and humans. Yeah. And
I tested this is true.
Yeah, so for me to be called like racist, I'm going, oh fuck, no, that is not me. And so at all costs, I'd like to avoid being known as somebody who says insensitive things.
But you know what's crazy about that? What you just said is because I understand you, because it's not you. You don't want to be perceived as something you're not. But it's not you. Even the intention, even in the joke, is not a racial joke.
It's not me, and it wasn't intended. But as a white person, I don't have the same experience.
That is a super racist thing. Why'd you have to say that? What do you mean? Because what does that mean? You don't have the same experience.
I am not a visible minority, so I don't have the same perspective as somebody who grew up a visible minority in North America, in Montreal. Let's say, the user example.
But you never talked about having the same perspective as a visible minority.
Exactly.
You described your situation from your perspective.
Yes. However, as a white person, I have inherent privilege. Therefore, my perspective is not as broad or not as sensitive to the issues.
Doesn't that mean that you lack privilege? Because if you had privilege, you'd be able to talk about whatever you want.
No, I can talk about whatever I want at the risk of sounding really insensitive.
But that's crazy, because then where's your privilege, lady? Because you should have privilege to talk and not get judged, right?
No, privilege is not necessarily...
If that Indian comic was doing a white impression.
Well, that's the whole question, is going, well, who can make fun of who then? White people can't make fun of any other race, but other races can make fun of other races and white people.
Everybody could make fun of everyone in my book. I'm an invisible minority, being a Greek guy growing up in Park X. It's true. We're a minority, but you can't tell.
Well, that's like me. I'm a Jew.
It's like you. Yeah, there you go. Invisible. I don't want that to count for anything.
Right.
I don't want somebody to be like, oh, well, he's allowed to make that joke because he's Greek. No, he's allowed to make that joke because he's a comedian and it's a joke. Yeah. You think I would like people to, when they see me at comedy clubs, second guess their Greek jokes? Fuck no. Make your goddamn Greek jokes. You're making jokes. Don't worry about me. Yeah. Make your joke because it's a joke. Yeah. Unless you're on stage, you're like, what we got to do with these Greek people? Just kill them or something. I don't know. You're inciting violence. Different story. It's not what we're saying. We're talking about comedian. And you, knowing you're fucking little sweetheart. Like, who took that, like, from your joke as the intention was to hurt Indian people? You of all fucking people. It's crazy.
But this person doesn't know me on a personal note. Yeah. He doesn't know where I'm coming from.
Like I said, this person doesn't sound unreasonable.
He's not unreasonable, but I show up. I'm white. I'm privileged. I'm there talking, saying whatever the fuck I want to say, and then all of a sudden, it's like you're not sensitive to the perspective. You're speaking on a group of people that you have no perspective on because you're not part of that group.
But again, this what bugs me is that exaggeration. You did not speak on a group of people. You didn't do any of that. You spoke about this is what...
I happen to agree with you. I don't think I was spewing hate speech.
No, but you weren't even commenting on their experience. You were talking about your experience with them.
Yeah, there was a moment, in the set where I called out to the host and I was like, "Oh, sorry, blah blah," like kind of kibitzing or joking about like, "Oh yeah, you're Indian and I'm doing an Indian bit, haha."
That's fine. That's even better.
But that was almost what sealed the deal for him to go. And on top of it, you recognize that there's like inherently a racist element to the point that you call me out on stage and go, I
inherently recognize I'm talking about an Indian person and you're an Indian person. That's what I inherently recognized. Because you know why? Because I'm a human being with logic. I have perception. I could see things.
I mean, I appreciate your tolerance. I do.
I'm very tolerant. I'm very tolerant.
No, j'apprécie énormément. Yeah. And I think...
but this isn't...
No, I'm not bringing it up.
There's nothing to be tolerant about. This is not even a bad... what bugs me is that I know you.
Yeah.
And you're a little bundle of joy. Like you're very... And you don't have that element in you. You don't have the element to try to say something racist, to be edgy or to hurt. You don't have it in you.
Yeah.
So what bugs me is because I've been misinterpreted,
Right.
and misrepresented, but misinterpreted. But I'm like, okay, at least I was doing touchy stuff that if you don't know where I'm going or whatever, I could see.
It's risque.
It's risque. I could see where you get it. But when it happens to you, it's like, fuck. But this person, I would love to say, oh, they're fucking crazy. This guy's an idiot. But he's not really, because his perception, I get where he's coming from in the sense of, let me talk to her, see where she was coming. But at one point, we have to call a spade a spade. This is like, you're reaching. The guy's reaching.
I think maybe I was a good target for, maybe a history of feelings in that way. Maybe like this was a good opportunity to just showcase like his thoughts, and he wanted me to be aware of them. Either way, I think I'm not going to internalize this and to the point where I'm going to like doubt my entire career and go,
no,
fuck, I'm
but
a
it's
racist
a good
bitch.
topic.
It's a wake up call. I'm grateful it happened. I'm growing as a result of it. It doesn't mean I have to stop saying anything contentious ever. It just means I need to make choices that are conscientious if I'm going to put it in my set. It better be crafted with intention, and I better be ready for backlash if I'm going to get it, so that I can stick by what the fuck I said because I made a conscious choice to keep it in the set. And that's really, I think, being a comedian.
I have a problem with accents.
Okay.
I do them, but not well.
Okay.
And sometimes, I don't know why, sometimes I could do them well, and sometimes everybody sounds Russian.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to.
Right.
Sometimes I'm trying to do a Chinese one, and I'm good at it, and sometimes they sound Russian. Sometimes everything sounds Russian, and I'll go with it. And somebody told me once, and I barely do impressions. This was a short 2-second thing about, that's not a Chinese accent. I go, yeah, I know, I'm bad at that. Like, if I did the Chinese, first of all, it would have been worse. You should have been more mad. But I couldn't control it. It came out as Russian instead. But you couldn't just laugh at that. Like, you were mad. You're like, look, if you're going to say a fucking racist joke, it better be super. It's like, what are we mad at now? There's nothing you could do that'll make you happy. You're looking for something to get mad at. And you're like, that wasn't accurate.
No, I do agree that, like, unfortunately, we're at a time where things are more off limits now than they were 20 years ago. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also not necessarily a good thing. There is a lot of comedy I have watched as of late that has not aged well.
Give me an example.
Ari Spears, I watched his special, and it's from the early 2000s.
Was he talking shit about white people?
He's talking shit about retarded people, and he keeps saying retarded, keeps using that word over and over again, and then he goes so far as to do like a physical impersonation.
All right.
That's very, very offensive. And I'm watching that going in the early 2000s. This was socially acceptable in the public discourse. Nobody was offended by this, or they were, but silently. And it only came into the public arena in the
people that should be offended didn't get it. That's the problem.
Listen, I don't know.
You set it up. I had to jump in.
I'm sorry.
There.
It's okay.
No, but okay. So you saw, and it was what? The full special was just.
No, I don't remember the entire special, but like there was a good chunk of it that was. I'm pretty sure Theo Von also has a whole bit about that in the first couple minutes of his Netflix special, if I remember correctly. There's a lot of kind of accent on.
This guy's a good-hearted guy too.
I mean, I don't want to comment on Theo Von. I have my own views, but
really?
We don't need to get into that.
We're gonna talk about it off air now because I'm interested.
Offline.
Yeah. Okay. So I get what you're saying, but Eddie Murphy. Mm-hmm. I love Eddie Murphy. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I do comedy is probably this gentleman. You can take stuff from those two very incredible specials, bring him to today, and you'd be like, ooh, that's a... I mean, he faggot a lot, like all kinds of jokes. Are you saying that he's... And I'm not meaning you, proverbial you, the you of today. He's a bad guy for saying them. He should apologize. It's a little crazy because when those jokes were crafted and they were said, they were meant to be funny, and judging by the audience, they were. Different climate, right? Mm-hmm. Like right now, if you take a comedian from the 1920s and they're making fun about women not voting, right?
Well, anything that's offensive today ostensibly hasn't aged well because of the current day climate.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's not the fault of the joke or even the joke teller.
It's a reflection of culture and society at the time in which it was created.
There you go.
As is any media text, any content that we're seeing today is a reflection of society, and society reflects culture and affects culture and vice versa.
So like Ari Spears, I'm just bringing that up.
Yeah.
So right now, would you hold him accountable right now for something that clearly worked then and was okay?
Hold him accountable? No, I don't think people should be necessarily, I have to be careful now what I say. Funny. No, I don't think he's held accountable. He made a joke in a time where it was culturally accepted.
However, what if we watch the special and we laugh, or I laugh? Then he's still hitting the goddamn target. That's what I'm saying. That's what's weird with jokes.
No, I think it's like, I think it could be funny. Yes, I think it is, it can be funny. It's, do I want to be the person saying certain words or spewing certain things? No, I don't think I, Olivia Benaroche, want to be known as that person.
Oh, different story. I love rap music. I don't want to be the guy singing those lyrics. Someone's going to kill me.
Yeah, but not only just for the reason that I'm afraid of public backlash, but also just because I am sensitive to the, the whole kernel of, oh, we're offended and it's offensive. Yeah, like a lot of it gets blown out of proportion. A lot of people are hypersensitive and there's this like cancel culture, but there is a kernel of truth behind it, which is it is actually offensive.
There we go.
It is hurting a group of people that feels targeted. I think there's varying degrees of when and how and where you can use certain words in certain contexts, but generally speaking, I like to steer clear of them. Do I think Ari Spears should be chastised for, employing the R word and doing a bit about it? I don't know if he needs to be chastised 20 years after the fact, but certainly if somebody were to make a comedy special today and do that, yeah, they should be subject to the court of public opinion, just like everybody else is.
But is it the public opinion or is it a specific demographic that decides? So publicly, overwhelmingly, let's say they like your special and all you're doing is, now N-bombs wouldn't happen, but let's just say it's retarded and there's a good joke about it and overwhelmingly people like it, except for the lobby. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's a name for it, but I forgot what it was. They try to go after Segura too. Anyways, for using the R word, retarded, in his last special. Now, overwhelmingly, public opinion likes the joke.
It's so tough.
And that's what, and I'm saying there's a right answer or wrong answer. I'm saying that's why it's so complicated nowadays. Yeah. That's why I know there's stuff that it's not necessarily that I find offensive. Like I know comics that I could see what they're doing. I could see why people like it, but it's not for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's not for me. I don't hate or attack. I'm just like, I won't watch this just because it's not for me, but I get what they're doing. This is for someone else.
You know what? Sorry to interject.
Go ahead.
It's true that, okay, if I'm in the setting of a public gathering, I'm out with friends or we're at a dinner and somebody I don't know, or even somebody I do know, whoever, somebody starts dropping that word, the R word.
Sounds like me.
It sounds like you. Okay. Let's say we're amongst friends having a beer and you're like, oh, that's so retarded.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call you out publicly in front of everyone and go, you shouldn't use that word. However, I will make a mental note.
And then tell me, you're like, hey, by the way.
Either I'll tell you after or I won't, but I'll know for myself and I'll go, so-and-so just used that word. That's a reflection of them. They are maybe inherently a little bit intolerant, or they're not sensitive to this, or oh, that person's not as intelligent as I thought they were, or you know what I mean? I might infer
that person's
something.
A little retarded. That would be funny. That would be fucking amazing.
See, I laughed though. I laughed at that
because these are good jokes. I'm telling you, they're good jokes, but there's no hate behind it.
No, I know.
I'm the butt of the joke.
It's awful,
just
but
yeah.
Oy, it's tough. I don't know. This is actually the first time I'm having an extensive conversation about this, and it's funny because in the theme of what we're talking about, I'm afraid to say the wrong thing, but I also don't. I don't think I think things shouldn't have to be off limits. I don't know.
But what's hard is that you can't control this crazy thing. You can't control, like what I just said right now made you laugh, right? Mm-hmm. You can't control that every person, and that's why I understand where you're coming from. You can't control that every person that's going to use the word retard is going to use it the way I just used it. You see, because it could be used in a way where you're like, oh, fuck, that is
really offensive.
Yeah, no, not even offensive. Like that's fucking hurt. Like that'll hurt someone's feelings. Yeah. So that's why I see where you're coming from. Because you hear the word, and right away, you're like, oh, fuck. You think of the worst case scenario, right? You didn't have a good case scenario the way I use it, but you're right to have the worst case scenario in your head because clearly it's not every word is ever always used for good. Yeah. So that's
where your intention comes from.
That's where the intention comes from. But the problem is I can never control the outcome of how you take it because just like you thought of it as a comedian right now. Yeah. So your mind was open. So you allowed the joke to get in there, and that's why you laughed. Yeah. If your mind, though, if you weren't a comedian,
if I wasn't in the frame to hear it, maybe.
If you're not a comedian and you're not in that world, and your mind closes the second a certain word is said, it didn't matter where I dropped it or whatever. There's no laughter, just anger, and it doesn't make you a bad person. That's the kind of thing that I can't control with an audience. I'm
curious to hear your perspective then on the future of comedy and as like kind of the state of the industry now is a little fragmented, obviously because of COVID, and we've been suffering so much, like any artist really. So we seemingly have regressed in some ways as far as freedom of, like, censoring freedom of speech.
We have. This is true.
Do you think that there's a world in which we go back to having this really open conversation?
Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take though, but I feel like it's a pendulum in a way.
Yeah.
And because the more you push on one side, the more it pushes back. Here's what I'm scared of. I'd like it to go back to the middle. When I was, it's weird because I hate people who are like, back in my day, it's not a back in my day situation, but just from my perspective, I remember growing up and being able with my friends of any race, of anything, to discuss anything.
Yeah.
Hey, why do you do this? Why is that? Why is that weird? But it was never an angry thing. Everything was open. They would ask me questions. I would ask them what you could joke about anything. And political people wouldn't talk about it too much. But even if you voted for Trump or for Biden or whatever, it wouldn't divide us in the sense that, fuck you, you're the enemy now. It would just be like, really? That's who you, and then you could talk about it. Now we've gone to a point where if you publicly endorse the wrong political candidate, which they're all fucking reptile scumbags. The fact that you care about one of them is crazy already, but then that'll ostracize you.
Right.
Is insane to me, because then if the pendulum swings the other way, now all that's going to happen is, now people that are conservative, they're in charge. So you can't fucking say, that's crazy. I don't want it to be like that. I want to be back in the middle where say whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. We know where we're meeting. I don't give a shit about your political candidate because they're all politicians. They're going to fuck you. I don't care who you like in politics. They're going to find a way to fuck you over because that's what they do. That's why they're there. They're venomous. They don't want to work. That's why they're there. So I know we're going to get back to a normal. Are we going to get to an extreme and then back to normal? That's my only fear. I hope we just go back to the middle where we're like, yeah, fucking live and let live. But I don't know that that's going to happen because people are getting really frustrated. People are getting censored for random shit.
Well, cancel culture, that's what it comes down to.
And if you push too hard, at some point people are going to push back, and they might push back harder than they should, and then it just escalates. It just, and that's what I'm worried about. I don't want it to get to, I want it to go back in the middle. You don't like something, don't tune in. You find that offensive, it's not for you. That's cool. The second we start getting into everything that I don't like is hate speech, fuck, Olivia, that's dangerous, man. No,
I agree that there's a need to protect the freedom of speech to not like promote censorship. Like, I think
it's not just me; it's making the other person the enemy. Like right now, what they're doing in the States, I don't know how they don't see how dangerous it is.
With like, what specifically?
Like politicians coming out, like AOC coming out and saying we have to find out whoever voted for Trump. We have to make a list of these people, and we can't let them. We have to take care of them. They need to pay for what they did. Pay for what they did in voting for the Republican. It's very extreme. It's the wording.
She's a bit of a socialist. I happen
which is fine. You could be a socialist. You could like her, but the wording is too extreme. Because now you're saying that the person that voted for a candidate is the enemy, is a Nazi. Is this?
So she wasn't just talking about the people that actually stormed the Capitol.
No, this was before the Capitol stuff happened. Then the Capitol stuff happened. Yeah, the insurrection of people cosplaying these retards. Yeah, they're. When they're making it, when I see that, I'm like, holy fuck, this is a circus. Guys in like clearly people that are mental, like this is it. The country's really, they're gonna take over. Are you all insane? Guys taking selfies. Are you all fucking crazy?
It's pretty fucking insane.
It's super insane. First of all, it doesn't even make any sense because on one hand, you're saying I got to take the country. We got to respect the institutions of the country, which is why I'm going to piss on this institution. None of it makes sense. It's all crazy people, right? And then we're stuck in it, looking at this from like, this is idiots fighting idiots, and then we're the ones who eat it at the end. It's comedians that are going to pay, freedom of speech, saying the wrong thing. It's we pay for idiots fighting idiots. In the end, we're the ones that get hurt.
Interesting.
Citizens get hurt when checks don't want to get signed because I don't want his name on the check. Wait till he's not president. What the fuck do you care whose name is on the check?
Yeah, just take
your
money.
People need money. Your people have been unemployed for almost a fucking year.
Yeah.
Put fucking Adolf Hitler's name on the fucking check. Who gives a shit? Help the people out. Yeah. It's things like that bothers me when everyone's being used as a tool. And we face it in work-wise, political correctness, a lot. But people face it every day with like social programs that get held back because no, I can't ally with that person. They're on the other side of the aisle. What the fuck do you care?
Yeah, there's a lot of like a dichotomy. There's a lot of othering.
Yeah.
And automatically, if you like this, well, I can't like you anymore. Well, no, it doesn't have to
I hate
be that
shit.
way. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like politics in the States too. Because like let's say AOC. Yeah. She's young. She comes out. There's a perspective that you could use. You don't see the world the way she sees it. Mm-hmm. Everyone in there is really old. Mm-hmm. There's something important there. You could come out there and make people more aware of things that they would never be aware if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
Instead, she right away joined that whole divisive thing where I would think young people should be more open. Be like, no. Listen, Goofy, this is what we should do. This is the reality of things. Should work to not this whole, well, now I'm on this side of the aisle. And I'm using her as an example because I just brought her up. But they all do it. They all do this whole, I'm going in, the masks are against, what I believe in. So fuck it. Even though it's the rules in here, I'm not wearing a mask just to prove a point. Or if I wear a mask, it's going to be like, my mask says fuck them. Like, you're politicians. You were voted in to work for the fucking people. And you're playing these weird games in there about your personal feelings. I don't care what your goal in there, if you were voted in, should be to take care of the fucking people. I don't care what your personal fucking belief is.
I think a lot of them think they are, though. AOC certainly is branded herself as a woman of the people. That's her whole slogan too, coming from the Bronx and waiting tables and bartending before she did a good job getting rid of all those jobs that Amazon was going to create because she decided she didn't know how fucking taxes work. She thought that tax breaks. So did you remember this? I take it you're a very big AOC fan.
You know what's crazy is I want to be an AOC fan, but every fucking little, it's something stupid. Like the Amazon thing shocked me. I go, you can't be in politics and not know this.
About her comment about billionaires shouldn't exist?
No. That was that. A lot of people have that opinion. But that's another stupid opinion because you can't control that. I can't control how much money you can make. But
my problem, if you're in government. But anyway.
my problem was with the Amazon thing because she thought that tax breaks meant that they're being given money. Do you remember this? Why are we giving it to Amazon? We should give it. And people were like, no, we're not giving them money. What we're saying is they're going to pay less so they could build here so we could have more jobs. Yeah. But by the time that was done, they said, fuck it, we're not opening our facility here. This shit's crazy. And I was like, you should know what a tax break is. Like we're taking money from the people and giving it to Amazon. Like, no one's doing that. Stop talking. You not have handlers? Yeah. So when I see shit like that, say Trudeau did the same thing here. I voted for Trudeau. 3 days later, he made me feel embarrassed the first time. Where he goes, the budget, it'll balance itself.
Yeah, no, it won't.
Like, fuck, why'd you say that? I just spent 2 weeks saying that we need freshness, this and that, and then now I look like a fucking idiot. No. Anyways, I go hard on him too, and I shouldn't.
It's okay. Look, listen, that's a whole another world of debate right there, and I'm not like so politicized. Obviously, I have my views, and I know who I like, but
my views are very simple: socially liberal and financially conservative.
I think a lot of people are aligned.
Socially, I need the government out of everybody's business. The government shouldn't dictate any of that stuff. Like, remember gay marriage was a big debate?
I remember when it was legalized when I was in high school.
Yeah, it was a big debate.
Yeah.
Gay marriage is another thing that I think Ron Paul was the one. It's like, why is this even? The government can't decide that. This isn't something that we think you should. You have no business in this. I
feel strongly about that as far as abortion and things like that.
Yeah, okay, but I guess abortion. I guess the government has to get in because it's. Why does the government have to be involved in that? Because it's.
No, I don't think they should. I don't think government should have a say on reproductive choices. Like, I don't think the government should tell me.
The government can't tell you, right?
But they do, right? Because it's illegal in so many states in the U.S. So if you want to have an abortion in Alabama.
But again, who should it fall down? Should it fall down to the individual hospitals? This just came in my head right now. I'm just thinking about it.
What do you think?
I don't know. That just came in my head right now. Like, who should it come down to? Should it, is it dangerous? Is it dangerous for you to get an abortion?
I think. Okay, my view is.
No, I'm saying I don't know. I'm asking seriously. Like, is it dangerous if you get an abortion? Is it dangerous to your health?
I'm not enough of an expert to
I don't know either.
On it, but I don't know either. No, there's very safe abortion. Like, you can have a very safe abortion today. We have the technology and the clinics set up so that you can have an abortion without really posing too much of a risk to your life.
Okay, so the risk is not for you.
It's not for the mother necessarily. It's the tragedy of aborting a human life. Then you have
that's a personal decision.
Then you have the debate of where does human life start and Roe v. Wade, and we don't have to get into all of that.
Okay. So personally, I believe that. A baby's a baby. Like, if it's an infant, I believe it's a child. But I can't decide because abortion is for many reasons. It could be that the kid is going to be sick. It could be that it was a rape baby. It could be that it's going to grow up. The woman, it's a situation. I can't decide for that person what to do just because I believe it's a baby.
Yeah.
But
no, you shouldn't be deciding. It's not your baby. So
there you go.
So I'm with you. I agree that a woman should have the right to choose. Do I think abortion is good? No, I think it's really sad. I think it's really sad, regardless of the reason. I think
Same. That's how I feel.
There could be a great reason for you to have an abortion, and women should be able to exercise that choice. Is it a joyful occasion? No, it's really sad, but it is what it is, and it's better to, in some cases, abort than to bring someone into the world, depending on the circumstance. It can be. I'm not saying one way or another. I think that's also a very unpopular opinion. Like, if you go to the States and you go to the South, like, you know, everyone, like most people are pro-life.
I think because the argument isn't the correct one, because we're arguing semantics.
Yeah.
Like, I think like, oh well, it's too soon for it to be a baby. It's like, look, man, it's a fucking baby. That's why. If that's what you're going to debate, then you're going to argue about stupid shit. That's not your problem. Your problem is, do you have the right to tell someone not to do it, or that's a whole other fucking can of worms.
Yeah.
Because how the fuck do I decide?
No, but so in the same way that I don't think anybody should. I think people should just fucking decide for themselves.
But that's
you want to be gay and get married. Be gay and get married.
Oh, that's not even a debate for me. I don't. Gay people should not be getting. No, I'm saying.
Sorry.
Gay,
Also,
people
not to insinuate that it's a choice. Sorry, I didn't want to insinuate that it was a choice to be gay. It is not a choice.
It's
to
a
be gay.
super gay choice. No, but gay people, even that always. I don't know why. Since I was young too, that's always been something. I'm like, how? What the fuck do you care? What two people, like, it has nothing to do with you. I don't even know why that's even in a...
It challenges traditional ideals and views, and then you have that interrelation of government and state and religion.
But it doesn't affect... Look, if you're... I don't know, man. If you're two gay guys and you're forcing a church that doesn't want you there to marry you, okay, then maybe the church can be like, hey, I don't want... That's a different... Because now you're infringing on them. But for the government to tell you, you can't get... What the fuck do you care?
No, I personally...
It has nothing to do with you.
I personally agree, but there's lots of people who are homophobic, so...
It's
unfortunately, we're still battling some compassion issues in today's world.
But the abortion thing is so complicated. It's so complicated.
And as a woman,
how do you feel as a woman? Like, isn't it more than just a yes, no? It feels so heated.
It's so not straightforward. I'm of the belief that I'm politically very, very pro-choice, but morally, I look at it as a sad choice to have to make.
I feel like that. I feel you.
So I can understand the pro-life argument. I agree that it is tragic to abort a potential human life.
But it's weird to force someone.
But to tell someone you cannot because of my beliefs, because I'm XYZ religion and I believe that...
I just remembered something.
Yeah.
Now I'm just confusing the whole situation. Now it's going to make it more. Because I've had an argument. That's not the argument is not my religion. The argument is what gives you the right to kill that person. And then that becomes super heated because you're like, oh, fuck. All right, listen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I have the right to kill people. And then that's why I don't think this can be, it's not even you know how there's, like, I like discussions where you could come to a conclusion. You're like, oh, we could compromise. I feel like this is one of those things where you can never have a compromise because how do you have a compromise on that? Like, what are you going to decide one day? Like, oh, actually, you know what? No, that's cool. You could kill people. Or actually, you know what? That's not a living, like, it feels like you can't.
Yeah. I mean, we kill animals for their meat who are already born.
Yeah.
Not to compare a human to an animal, but like
some of them.
A lot of people do compare humans to animals. A lot of people don't eat animals because they consider them to be on the same wavelength.
Oh, buddy Mike, he does that.
Yeah. Lots of people are vegan because
very compassionate.
They're compassionate. Yeah. I don't know. Listen, I think these are all very age-old questions and things that there's a reason there's debates about them and that they cause issues and there's legislation that is conflicting. But
I'll tell you one thing about me. The way I feel, you can tell me right now you're pro-choice, pro-life, whatever the fuck you want. I won't look at you any, I don't mind your opinion. Unless your opinion is that of hatefulness, I don't mind, you could disagree with me. I don't mind your opinion.
I think for me, I'm not going to make a judgment based on somebody's points of view. I'm a Jew. I have friends who are Palestinian. You know what I mean? I'm not going to not be friends with
Everybody makes mistakes.
I'm not going to not be friends with someone just because they have a conflicting point of view. I think, yes, if it stems from hatefulness, that's a different ballpark. I don't want to be associated with you if you're a hateful person. But I think fundamentally what's missing is open-mindedness. It's totally okay for you to have an opinion. You're pro-life, I'm pro-choice. No problem. We can still be friends. At the very least, though, let's talk about it. Let's be open to talking about it for the purpose of seeking mutual understanding, not for the purpose of winning or being right.
No. Let me understand where you're coming from.
Or change my mind. Change my mind. Like, let's hear it.
I like the change my minds.
Be open enough to dialogue and be uncomfortable, even if it's a close relationship. I think open-mindedness is just a big theme.
I like where your head's at. I like where your head's at. I think that's what moves things forward. Like, how you said I have Palestinian friends. I'm sure you probably had some difficult discussions, but if they happen, then you're like, oh fuck, all right, this is moving forward instead of closing ourselves in.
That's it. There's no benefit in continuing to just to choose a side and stay planted on that side. It's okay to have views. It's okay to believe with conviction.
Except for the Swiss, they are not to be trusted. We've learned this.
But I think, yes, the neutral party. I think Pantelis, it's okay to be fierce and firm and stand up for what you believe in. I think it's equally as important to be open-minded in life, in everything you do. You should approach with an open mind. It's all the heartache in the world, all the wars that have been started and we're fighting over all this fucking shit. So
3 of them are my fault.
So many of them are your fault. And so much of that stems from kind of world leaders not making decisions from a place of love and compassion. So much of it stems from, bigotry or hatred, pride or ego, or just closed-mindedness, and going like, if everyone just kind of smoked a joint and talked about their ideas in a safe space, like, we might make some progress.
I'm telling you, the whole talking, like what we're doing now, if important people, not just us, would do this, it would be amazing. Yeah,
to go, listen, I don't agree with your approach, but I'm interested to hear why you want to justify it.
And then you can understand, you're like, oh, that's why. Well, let me tell you something. The reason why you think this is, it's actually like this. And then you're like, oh, because that's what happens to me. So, like, I'm wrong a lot. People can be wrong. And then someone will tell me something, and I'll be like what you said before about retarded, right? Still in my head, it doesn't sound as evil as it does to you, but I get where you're coming from, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to fucking.
You can acknowledge it.
Like, I could acknowledge. I don't want someone to hear me and then assume that I dislike them. I think of them lesser than or whatever. I'm like, oh fuck, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be like, well, fuck that. That's just retarded. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get where you're coming from, because it's a place of, you're coming from a place of truth. You're not trying to be like, you know what, that fucking word, you're not doing that.
I would never say you can't use that word. It's not for me to say you can't use that word.
You never did, but your reasoning as to why it bugs you makes sense.
Sure.
It's not unreasonable. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm an adult enough to be like, yeah, that makes fucking perfect sense.
No, and I can also come at it from a more open perspective and go, okay, I see what you're saying. We either give power or take away power from that word. Context matters, intention matters. While it yields a certain outcome, yes, there is a degree of truth to, people are very sensitive and it's not impossible for us to use that in a certain context. Like, I can be amenable to your perspective as well, even if I don't fully agree with it.
Yeah, but these are talking points and viewpoints that imbeciles can never. They're heights that imbeciles can't attain to. They can't get there. And the problem is, majority of the world, and I hate to say it, but it's true, are fucking imbeciles, okay? Or, you know what? Not the majority. That is a lie. I'm oversimplifying. The vocal majority, a lot of people that are comfortable just yelling stuff out are idiots. Yeah. And then what happens is, people like me are like, what the fuck? They call out the idiots, and then it just brings out more idiots. It's kind of like cockroaches. And they're like, oh, son of a bitch. And you assume that everyone's like that. But I have learned something recently, that even though I assume it's just that a lot of vocal people are buffoons, more and more people are coming out and they're just silent. Yeah. But most people are in the middle. They're like in the fence, like, I don't like any of this shit. This is dumb. That's how, but they're smart enough to not engage, and that's why you don't see them around. But I'm telling you, most people, I think now, are in the middle. Just that they don't want to, like, oh, that's stupid. If I call him stupid, then this guy's going to jump and think I'm with him. And they're just like, oh, let me watch this from afar. This is bullshit. Because most people just want, you know what a Palestinian wants? Same thing an Israeli wants.
Peace.
Yeah. The guy and the husband and wife want to have their kids, raise them, go to work, come back home. They want the same thing. You know who else wants that? The Greek family, the Turkish family, the French family. Everybody wants personally the same thing, right? But because of powers that be, that are in control, that are dictating, they can't live that. You know what I mean? Other people are like Greece and Turkey right now. They're neighbors, right? You'd think they can make shit work. We can't, not because of a personal level, because personally they get along. Politically, they can't. Oh, invasion of this. You passed this, you came into our land. Why don't you take it? It's just nonsensical things that the everyday person is like, I have no control over this. I just want to go to work. I didn't ask for them to bomb this place or whatever. I'm just going to work.
Yeah, so you're saying a lot of people actually abstain from engaging.
Because they're like, fuck, I have no control over this. Like, you could see it, if you look at like Palestine, Israel, is to create, like, that's something where you could see, you're like, fuck, man, there's arguments here, there's arguments there. But if literally what everyone wants from both sides is peace, right? But it's impossible to happen when the people that are in charge don't want that. And nowhere in the world have I seen politicians that want that. They all have their own agenda. I'm not saying that it's all warmongering. It could be any agenda. It could be pride, expanding borders, their political philosophies they want to push on people. But it's always about them. It's never about the people that they're serving. It's never.
I know. That's why I think mindfulness is like so important, because if the whole world practiced mindfulness, then everybody would make conscious choices from a place of love and being present.
Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about fossil fuels?
Yeah, let's not get into any of that
about
shit.
Comedy. Look, I can't let you leave here and not talk to us about your true love, which is comedy.
Yes.
What's happening with that? Are you going to start a goddamn podcast? Because you were supposed to start a podcast a long time ago.
So we started the podcast like 2 years ago. We hit a hiatus. Then I came to record in your studio last March, and we did a whole episode on restaurant etiquette, which in light of the pandemic was a little bit tone deaf.
Kind of funny
to release. So when we did a whole podcast talking about all the shit we fucking hate at restaurants, so like, oh, you know what I fucking hate? When the waiter comes and it doesn't refill your water, and then
I hate people.
Yeah, and then and then it's like the world is suffering. People are losing their jobs. The restaurant industry is suffering enormously. It's very sad to see. And then we're gonna release our episode that's like restaurant etiquette, but that's not an excuse. We could have obviously recorded other stuff. It's been a weird year. I think we'll see what happens with the future of the pod. But definitely I'm at a point where I need to be using my voice more. I need to be putting more content. Like I'm here for it. I'm down. And it took me a while to kind of get my groove, because we talked about how hard it is to stay motivated and be self-employed. But I think I'm finally at a point where I'm able to consider myself seriously. Whereas when I met with you last time to do the pod, I was like, oh, well, I just quit, and I'm taking a leap of faith and betting on myself.
Don't make fun of yourself. That's how everybody feels when they do that. That was literally me.
But
a day after, I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm a retard.
But that's why it took me up until really this like beginning of 2021 to be like, oh, like I actually did some shit this year. Cool. Like people.
You did a lot this year.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, and here's the thing. Remember, you did a lot in a year where nothing was happening.
Yeah.
So if hopefully stuff opens up.
Thank you.
Imagine then if you put that same work ethic when you actually have doors opening.
Yeah, when there's shows to go to and people to meet and places to go. I mean, it's like I can't wait to get back to New York. I can't wait to get on stage in LA. I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, same.
I can't wait to do open mics at the fucking Comedy Store and, Laugh Factory and go to New York and do my regular circuit of shows. Like, I can't wait.
When do you think that's going to happen?
I don't fucking know. I mean, I could go to New York right now if I wanted to, but like I'm not interested in being mobile during a global pandemic.
We can go, but if we come back, we're fucked for 2 weeks, right?
I also don't
it's
have
too much of a hassle.
I'm sorry, I don't have $2,000 to spend on a hotel right now.
I have a question.
Yeah.
There might be a way out of that. They said that's the rule for. Look, this is
flying.
This is why you need Greek friends, right?
Okay.
Because we're sneaky sons of bitches.
Yeah.
So my plan is, let's fly to New York, do whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
Then we fly to Plattsburgh, drive back to Montreal.
Yeah. I'm sure that's a loophole.
It is a loophole.
Yeah. Well. Either way, I'm not leaving anytime soon. Haven't left Quebec in over a year. But I'm very grateful to be.
You know where I thought of that loophole?
Why?
Because last year, ABBA and Preach?
Yeah.
So last year, ABBA flies down to New York to do Flagrant 2, Andrew Schultz's show. And
that's a whole other. Anyway, we'll get
to this is so funny.
Yeah.
So, but it was a crazy time because Akash Singh was on 2-drink minimum 2 days before, and then that's when the pandemic started hitting.
I believe it's actually pronounced Akash. But
Akash. So it was fucking crazy because I remember that time he was like, "What the fuck am I gonna do? Like, do I go home now?" He had spots at the Nest. He was headlining. So anyway, so it was all crazy that time. So that passes like about a week, and then ABBA he was supposed to go down with Preach, but he ended up going alone. So he's like, "Fuck, are they gonna let me go?" He was going to fly. He was at the border control here, customs or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because he goes, it was empty.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Am I allowed to fly?" And the lady's like, "Look, we don't know why they're letting people. You're not allowed to drive, go by boat or walk. He goes,
drive into the country.
But you're allowed to fly there." And he's like, "This is stupid." And they're like, "Yeah, we know. We know this is stupid. Go on ahead." So I found out from him at that time that he was able to just, if he had driven New York, they would have stopped him. But the fact that he was flying, it was okay. Mm-hmm. And when you fly, you're in this fucking, this tube with other strangers. It's more dangerous than driving down alone.
I know. There's so much flawed logic behind.
But he made the smart move.
Management. What, to drive back in?
No, he didn't drive back in. He flew back because at the time he was still able to.
Right, okay.
But he made the smart move. It was good for him to go down there. He's, everybody's doing a pandemic. It's a big podcast. But also, like, if they're letting you, fuck yeah, you go.
No, I just wouldn't go. I just personally wouldn't go if all the clubs are closed. For me, it's like,
there's no point.
going to New York if all my clubs are closed. But like as soon as shit starts opening up, like I'm going down there and I'm doing a week of just open mics and like that's that.
New York?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just get some stage time. Like just make
we got to
some
talk.
calls.
If I had, there might be, because we had last May 1st, we were down there. It was, we're going to do a show. The New York Comedy Club, I believe it was.
Maybe, yeah.
It was, it was me, Mike, Aaron Berg, and Gino Bisconte, and it was going to be a good show, the Waterhead show. And we had to cancel it because it was May 1st. And we got our tickets. It's not everything was set up, but everything was closed. That's when everything closed in New York.
Oh, so you got fucked.
We got fucked. But I'm saying is next time if we're going to redo it,
oh, fuck yeah.
fucking throw you on that street. Come in there, dude. You're going to be in New York anyway. We'll
100%.
Together.
Anytime.
Yeah.
It would be an honor. Let's be honest. It would be an honor.
You would have fun.
I could definitely MC worst case.
I like New York crowds.
Yeah. I think I'd have to rework some of my material to do a New York crowd because a lot of it's kind of heavily focused on the French stuff here, which is very funny to Quebecers and, locals who speak French. But I can't go to New York and be like, yeah, so it's really funny. Like French people, when they say yeah, they go, and and like they suck in and it's like, ouais, donc tu sais, bon, mec. And like,
that's the French France? The France French? It's so weird.
I love it.
None of what they say makes sense also.
No, but I have a whole bit about how like French people talk with their mouths closed and you go, well, if you
that's true. You know what I don't like? They always say mais non quoi.
Non, mais non quoi. Non, mais non.
But you know mais non quoi translates to but no what?
Yeah, but it's like...
You know who says that?
Ouais, enfin, ouais quoi. Ouais quoi.
You know who says but no what? Here.
No what?
The R words. They say but no what. Who the fuck says but no what?
I can't with this.
That's good.
I respect you. I respect you. Okay.
Olivia, I love you.
I love you too.
So where are they going to follow you? Where do you want people to follow you?
Okay, right now
because you're not on Twitter and it's bothering me.
I'm actually on Twitter.
Where are you on Twitter? I look for you. I never see you on Twitter.
I know. OG Benaroche.
Oh, that's why I can't fucking find you. I always type in Olivia.
All my statuses are really dumb. They're from like 5 years ago, and it's me talking about how like Drake is the only rapper that's dying to get married, and like that's
kind of funny.
That's my tweet. So I have
that's actually kind of funny.
He's extremely monogamous. OG Benaroche on Twitter, Mighty O Swag on Instagram.
I know. I follow you on the ground.
Everyone gives me shit for my handles because they're not easily identifiable, but also it's like, I don't want to be...
Well, the links are going to be in the description. So if right now people click, they're already there. They don't have to think too much about it. I ask you...
I'm on TikTok.
I ask you not to tell me where they should type it in. I ask you because I always put on the top, the first ones is where you want them to go. Like where you're most active.
Yeah, I guess Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
It's good to be an IGer. Instagram's the shit right now. People love that stuff.
Yeah, but TikTok's also, I think, like where it's at. But thank you for asking and plugging me, and also like thank you so much for inviting me back. It's always like,
I love having you around. This is fun. We could shoot the shit and talk.
Shoot the shit forever.
Yeah.
It's like so nice. It's like refreshing to have human contact. Also,
you have to understand. I usually speak to in my daily life a lot of idiots, so this helps.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I need this.
Flattered. Likewise.
Like I deal with Poseidon a lot. Like not a lot of what we say makes any sense.
But he has a good heart.
Poseidon has a good heart. He has a good heart. Just very bad brain. But everything else is good. Olivia, people are going to follow you. Hopefully, they will. They will. Just I hope you produce a podcast for them because I'm telling you right now, the billboard for the comedian is the podcast.
Yeah. Eh?
Yeah. People like your podcast. They like your views and you're fucking around. And then when you're in a different city, they come to you. The old system they used to work for doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't. It used to be comedy clubs. Yeah. You make it in a club. You get bigger. You make your own fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all good. I have some ideas culminating.
I'm going to talk to you something. But everybody else, thank you for watching. Go fuck yourselves.